Bonus footage.
Yeah, we're live.
Hey.
Welcome. We got Michigan Bros Grow Show 188.
188.
Cheers, guys.
Nice crew
Cheers.
tonight.
We got
Red.
Michigan Bros.
Cacti are looking nice.
Do you know what else is 180? Well, no, not 188. Never mind, I'm wrong. Just
I'm
88.
excited.
Never mind.
Okay.
88.
88.
All right, take away the one. Do you know what there's 88 of? Constellations in the sky. You were correct.
Oh, really? Nice.
I did not know that.
Nope, I did not. Cheers,
There
chat.
were, like 10. They probably found a few more, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not up to date on my stars. So, but I'll
I
tell
heard
you
there's
what,
a
I'm gonna
lot.
smoke this AJ sour diesel and see some stars maybe.
Speak a great peninsula. Look about. Look about.
Well, welcome.
Sunday.
Sunday, baby. I want
Sunday,
to give a big
Sunday,
shout
Sunday.
out to our sponsor, Dig Medibles, and our Patreon. You know, get all this out of the way. Click like and subscribe. Oh, switch to live chat if you have it.
Well, I'm so behind. I don't even have chat up yet. Now I gotta pull it up.
Jeez.
Oh, this is terrible.
I hate
Spartan's
how when
way
you pop it
behind.
out, it turns it back to top chat every time.
I said, yeah, dude. I've always been like,
Awesome.
nobody checked this. Nobody. Like, they clearly, proofreading, how they always use to cram, like, you got to proofread or get a peer review. Get a
You
peer
gotta,
review.
Yeah.
I feel like none of the tech industry does that. Like, did you test your product? Oh, okay. But that's my
I
rant.
don't want to get in the habit of popping it out first. I just want to hit the live button. And then later on, when I decide I want to pop it out, then I can pop it out. But I
If
have
you
to-
don't pop it out, you got the video there.
And then I forget to like mute the thing. So I pop it out first, and while I'm fucking around with that, now it's bob, 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 and then we're hearing the me twice, 3 times, 4 times. Hey, welcome to the bro show. Hey, welcome to the bro. Hey, welcome to the bro.
Yeah.
Hi, this is live chat, live chat, live chat.
You get stuck in that tunnel.
Echo.
Yeah.
Echo.
Cheers,
Oh, yeah.
Daddy Ned.
Sometimes it's hard to
Hey,
find a
is
way
Is that
out
what
of
an
the tunnel
echo is? An audio tunnel?
Yeah.
in one way or another.
Ed,
I want to thank you to Anything Grows who reminded me in chat. But shout out to Indica B, man. He's had a big
Yes.
Yeah.
birthday today. So hopefully he's having a good night, getting nice and related.
Yeah.
looks like
Works
he got
super
some
hard.
Happy
Yeti
birthday.
hash earlier and some edibles. He should hopefully be feeling good right about now.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
This is completely off topic, but I just wanted to bring it up early on while we were talking about tech very quickly. Are you guys familiar with what's going on with the Silicon Valley Bank situation?
I only
Nope.
had a headline view of that, but yeah, very little. But yeah, go ahead.
Crash.
Very.
I heard that they got closed down and fucking, it hasn't affected me yet, so I haven't really been too concerned. But
Right. So I'm going to try to do this real quickly, but basically Silicon Valley Bank was a bank. It's a bank that a lot of investment and techs, basically tech startups, they use it to put their money in. And a lot of these tech startups, they have millions of dollars, sometimes billions of dollars. And in the bank, of course, the FDIC only insures bank accounts up to $250,000, right? Well, this bank, SVB, was on the chart I saw the lowest ranking bank out of all of them, like from Chase, Bank of America, all the way down to like banks I've never heard of. They had the lowest amount of accounts covered by FDIC insurance, and like 2.6% of them. So like over 97% of the accounts had more than $250,000 in it. Well, 2 years ago, they had like $80 billion something in the bank. At the end of 2021 or maybe 2022, I think it was like 160 billion. By like last Wednesday, it was like 190 billion. But they had been basically putting all this money that they were supposed to be holding on to, they had been buying bonds with it. And because of the way the insurance rates have been changing over the last year, all that value that they had has suddenly tanked very quickly, right? People realize this, a lot of tech startups, right? These venture capitalists with hundreds of millions of dollars in this bank, right? They start telling their clients to pull their money out, which of course turns into a bank run. This bank starts selling assets and whatnot, trying to cover these withdrawals. Can't do it fast enough because the bank runs so fast. So within the matter of like 48 hours, the FDIC and the regulators in California basically shut down the bank and took control over it. And it is the second biggest bank ever to fail in the history of this country, as far as I'm aware, only behind Washington Mutual in 2007 or 8 or whatever. So the ramifications probably won't really be seen until about 12 and a half hours from now when the market's open. And I'm sure it'll take weeks for things to really, whatever's going to happen. But just be wary of what's going on, because this is a very large economic potential crisis, I will say. Hopefully our regulators and everybody can figure it out and do what they do, but it'll probably just end up in another bailout. And
should we be buying toilet paper?
So
No, they
get a bidet.
All signs right now are saying no bailouts so far.
So this has gone as far as the UK. The UK regulators have already said they won't bail them out. I know the Treasury Secretary Yellen said they aren't going to bail them out, but I mean, I don't know how we can't spread or stop the spread of a contagion if they don't, because I mean, we're talking almost $200 billion. And so think about this, it's all the way down. So companies like Etsy, for example, use SVB for their payment distributions. So people that were supposed to get paid from Etsy over the weekend weren't getting paid, because they have maximum essentially of $250,000 in their bank account, right? So it's a lot of payroll issues right now, and
we'll have to see what happens tomorrow and discuss it on the Lace Edge.
Yeah, everybody get your popcorn for tomorrow night. I know this is a gut show, but I figured I'd just bring it up.
No, I didn't know about that, but that reminded me of the Skymint catastrophe going on.
Well, we might as well bring that up
by their investors.
Yep. Sure. I was just reading a little bit more about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Red.
Well, I don't want to speak for any of the sides of the company, but Skymint, owned by Green Peak, is in I don't know if the word is default, but they basically have not paid their lenders, which is a Canadian company, $127 million owed a year ago, Mark.
Yeah, they've been in default for over a year, put it that way.
Default for over a year. So their lenders are pulling back, basically, litigating them, et cetera. They can't pay them is the thing. And they have, 20 locations across, maybe more, 38 locations, some crazy number.
They're everywhere in the state.
And same deal. I mean, they're going to have to sell their assets in order to pay back these loans. And,
and then they had the thing that got them into trouble. And you can see this from there was an article written probably 2 years ago explaining it, but they don't have assets, man. They rent the buildings. They don't own any of this shit.
That's what I mean.
This made me laugh because recently I drove up to Lansing and you can see off 127, big old brand new Skymint, like office grow. I don't know. It's like it's a fancy looking giant building, and
from my
they just built that, so they're gonna have to sell that bitch.
From my understanding, those billboards are outrageously expensive because it's all cannabis companies competing for them. So they're charging stupid amounts.
I can't remember what our boss tried to go. It was like nah.
It was like $20,000 or something.
Yeah, it was for like a month or something.
Yeah. I know a few years ago when I looked into it, some of the more expensive ones were like around $10,000 a month, like along the expressways and stuff. I'm sure there's ones that are more expensive, but I'm sure there's a lot more.
You get one on 94.
Cheaper, right. Yeah, like over there on Mount Clemens area, I think.
So Skymint's a big cannabis corp, so I'm happy. Yeah, they're probably gonna have to shut down.
I would like to say, cannabis is, I believe cannabis is a sentient being, man, and it has a life force of its own, and it knows who it wants to perpetuate it. And you know what? I'm sorry, man, if you just don't have the morals, the values, the ethics that the plant wants. Like, for example, if you are trying to prohibit people from home growing, if you are trying to open the legacy market.
They're posting the only time we got to sell to the market.
People, if you're preaching for freedom and also prohibition at the same time, you got your values, your morals, your ethics all bottled up and construed, man. And you know what? The plant's gonna tell the shit and it's gonna get rid of it, man. It's gonna put that flaming pile of shit right on old man's front porch, set that fucker on fire, ring the doorbell, and walk away. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. Look at this, dude. The plant doesn't lie, man. And I'll tell you what, the private market is stronger than ever right now. Thank God. And you know, it might not be a wholesale market like it used to be, but it's something. And a huge shout out to everybody who comes through, supports any of these little private craft markets that are artisan markets that are popping up. The one on Sunday specific. Here we go, back in the Lansing area where all of these Sky Mints are all over the place. The Third Eye Craft Affair. You know, we had 2 inches of snow on the ground this morning. There were cars left and right in the ditch, but somehow people still made it out to the craft affair and had a great smoke sesh, dude. People toting in Pelican cases up under their arms and setting up. Dude came
So
in
many Pelican cases, dude.
Lazy Susan with the fucking rig that he could just lazy Susan to all of his buddies, dude. I mean, it's a sesh, man. And shout out to people keeping it going, because you know we can't do that. It's the way that the unfortunately, I'd love to say that, you know, the legal system worked out, but the way that it worked out just kind of go against the community. So the way the community is, you know, thank God, keep session, keep the private market private. Keep it legacy for a reason. You know, let the commercial companies kind of dig themselves deeper and beat each other out of it. And all the MSOs outcompete each other right back out of Michigan and into like all of these newer states. Go right.
Dude, Florida. How hilarious is I don't mean to knock.
This happened in Florida.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like well, just like the states that have
tried to lie to their investors, and their investors hired a drone and found out they're using shitty hoop houses. That's why their weed sucked. And it's literally what Red kind of said. You just put the greed into it, and the plant won't give back. So
yeah, man.
This is kind of another big win on top of Fuego. I think Fuego's out of the game.
Yeah, and that's why
they got a big hit. So
yeah,
this is good for all the little people in cannabis.
And that's why my heart hurts so much to see that Curaleaf is on the
hash bash
for not hash bash, but the Monroe Street Fair. They're two different events, so
funny, dude. Becca,
they're not connected as far as that, but still, Monroe Street Fair should know. But whoever's in control of that should know better.
Out, dude. Becca pointed this out earlier. Monroe Street Fair had a commercial a couple weeks ago that showed Gage and Cookies and all these other MSOs. Recently, I think it was today, she was pointing out that their commercial today did not show any of those MSOs. I'm curious.
Well, it's still on their fucking flyers.
Okay, so I didn't know if they took them off.
You get the map, and
because I'm curious.
Oh, they took them off the flyers today.
I don't know. They took them out of the commercial. I saw a commercial without them, so I'm curious if they like finally came to their senses and realized that they're advocating. You know, these are companies that did not advocate for freedom; they advocated for prohibition, and you're highlighting them in a freedom rally, right? You're highlighting prohibitionists at a freedom rally. That just makes no sense. And I've mentioned this in every single chat, and I hope to God that that's what happened. So be it. If not, I'm not walking down Monroe Street. That's just I protest hash bash. I protest Monroe Street for the sake of prohibition, not for the sake of prohibitionists. And if that's who's going to be partying at that, I'm out there, man. I'm not partying with the prohibitionists. You know, I'm marching for freedom. That's what that protest is for.
But it's important to know that hash bash is still on, and that's not connected, and you can totally still partake in hash bash and not be helpful,
and the hash bash cup
and the hash bash cup, another opposite, two different things, not connected to the Monroe Street Fair.
Hey, and can I bring up another thing while we're talking about this? Because I'm not I don't know, I've thought about it a little bit, but I want to hear you guys' opinions about this whole Big Cloud transition and the fact that they're calling their next event Legacy Michigan when they are no longer in the legacy market.
Not a fan of that.
Same.
Not a fan at all.
I'm interested how it's going to roll out. I'm very curious, man. You know, using the legacy market as branding or marketing is one thing if you're able to hold true to that. But the only thing that I don't know a lot about the way that the event space, right? The licensed event space has to be played. But from my understanding, a cultivator or a processor can't sell their products. It has to be sold through a provisioning center
Or a
Metric.
micro business. Yep.
or a
Yeah,
micro.
that's through metric.
So
It's a
I'm
metric
curious
transaction.
to who the provisioning centers are going to be selling products, and if WANAs are going to be on the property, and you know what I mean? Like if they have companies selling, I don't know. Like I could tell you right now, like Mitten Canico would be a top producer, or like Haifa, right? Organic producer, one of those like good ones. But if without Haifa actually, or Winewood could totally be there.
Right.
It's
It'd be
there.
cool to see them like doing
And it'd
these
be cool.
events.
Like that would be one that I would totally say try to get Winewood on there, you know.
Mhm.
And that
But
would
yeah, but like these provisioning centers, they're all carrying the same crap. You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
you're just gonna go booth to booth to booth, get your the same Wana gummies, the
stuff.
same you
Same
know,
branded stuff. Yeah, that's been. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You could potentially find the same branded. Well, pick anything, gummy or
chocolate bar,
pre-roll,
flour.
or,
It's gonna be a
yeah,
complete
whatever at multiple booths for sure.
Yeah.
That's well, I mean, that's think about it. That's what a dispensary is, right? It's all the same stuff, pretty much all the same price. It's just whether or not it's a longer drive than the next dispo at this point is really all it is. There's nothing unique or craft or different about them unless you're going to somewhere like a Winewood.
Yeah,
That's
for
my
me,
favorite
and I
part
don't know if
of
I'm speaking for everybody, but for me, one of the greatest things as a customer was to be able to talk to the person who grew it.
Yes.
Talk to the person who grew the weed. That's fucking what I wanted. That's the person I want to talk to. And so to have that was just so cool. And then to go, to me, the talk to the people that I was looking up to in the YouTube community and stuff, it was like meeting a famous person, right? So to see some of these OGs, like to see Subcooler, to see, XYZ DJ Short walking around. You see DJ Short walking around just in the crowd at the Michigan Cups. It was so fucking cool, man.
High Time Hash Bash, DJ Short.
Yeah.
Seminars. You know what's even on that same like level, man, is when the grower wants to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like when you're the customer and like you're talking, and the grower actually wants to talk to you. The owner, the grower, is there to talk to you. Like the owner's not like 5 chads away. You know what I mean? It doesn't talk. No, the owner is the grower, is the everything, blood, sweat, tears, all been put into it. And he wants.
So I was disappointed to hear the other new micro grow is a different type of license that is selling other people's like name brand crap.
Well, you can't process your own, but you can buy, stuff from it's like what I don't just understand what the point is. You know what I mean?
So you can
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, it's like why would make sense? I would love this state to have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 Winewoods.
Because
not Winewood brand, but I mean like their own 5,000 different people. All in their own corner doing craft, and yeah, everyone around them buys. Yeah,
what it is
that's
what it is baked. Yeah, that what it is baked is that it's the new license is reducing the cost to go into it, because now you don't have to have the whole fucking processing lab. You can outsource that.
But it also doesn't give you the option.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
If you're just a grower, you just want to grow weed, you don't know shit about processing.
So you
that's
can be
an easier way for you to get in.
You can be the grower and the seller, and then you can sell other people's stuff.
You can sell, you can purchase the processed stuff to come back to you. So you can.
Their idea for that whole thing was to they assume that as a micro grower with this limited plant count that they put on you, that you may have shortfalls in your inventory, especially if you have a situation where a crop fails or something like that. So it's basically a way for you to, okay, now I didn't produce my own stuff, but I still want to keep my doors open. So I'll just outsource the product and resell it here as if you were a dispo, right? The problem is you don't even have the ability to do your own in-house processing. That is no longer an option under that license. So yes, you have an increased plant count, but now you're kicked out of the processing game. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But for a grower, it does. For a grower who doesn't have any processing knowledge and doesn't want to get into processing, that makes great sense. You're taking a sacrifice and being all in house, yes. But if you don't have any interest in the processing,
it's kind of like what we
bigger plant count, and you get a bigger plant count as the trade off. To a grower,
it's like a class A that can sell stuff and other people's stuff. I guess that's all right. You still got to jump through the metric hoops, but It's
You
not.
still got to
as
jump through metric hoops, but if you found a good processor that you could trust and build a good business relationship with,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look at Old Man Herman Hash, right? It's not that Eric
Exactly.
at Winewood is necessarily doing all their processing. You know what I mean? The same with the edibles, right? I forget her name, but the lady that does their edibles and often
yeah,
is
but
one working
Eric's
the
done a
counter,
good
you know?
job of building that. He wasn't that on day one, man.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, he
you
spent like 5
can
years
then go
building
hire
that
someone to run your
before he even
lab as a
sold.
micro grower, you know, but you don't have that option now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Right, but he at least had the knowledge to at least run it at the beginning. He was telling me the whole story, how he was shopping for that blast-proof room and how he brought it back, and it was
Well,
a hell
you
of
brought
an
up
awesome
a big
story.
point, and that's cost. I guess it all ultimately is going to depend on cost, right? If somebody has the funds to be able to set up a lab and the licensing in a location, township, and everything,
Well, that's
versus, I guess it
that's
all.
something
it
he
would
told
all
me
depend on-
when we visited what was John Sinclair. How I don't know, I think it was Ann Arbor, the township or something. They required 10% of your business, your cannabis business, to be on solar, to run off of solar. Well, he doesn't have any just field space to put solar panels, so you're looking at your roof. He has a guy come by. It's like, oh well, we're only gonna be able to put solar panels here, here, and here structurally, so that's gonna be like 5% of your power. And so, either way, the township wants you to get a quote and then give them 150% to hold on to. And they hold on to that money until you get the solar with other funds. So you need the quote money to give them, and you need the quote money to go get it done. Then they'll release those funds back to you after they inspect it, and they're like, okay, you got solar. He had to wheel and deal and be like, listen, just give me 50% of it. Let me keep the extra 50% and I'll pay that guy. He'll get started. And I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I know it was a big pain in the ass. I was like,
Yeah.
what is that for?
It's
What
endless.
other industry do you just like, here's a hoop to jump through?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
It's,
and eventually it'll get fleshed out, but
And
it's
the
just a
sad
pain
thing
it's a
is,
pain that they started. It's like Dirty in the chat talking about Florida. Yeah,
yeah,
they're doubling the license count, which is nice. But when you start with 4 for the first 2-3 years, then double to 8, you just gave a leg up to the biggest corporations to
exactly.
start not only
A head start.
time, but yeah. So it's just crazy.
And like you're
That,
saying,
that,
they're
that
already
none of
starting.
this is thought through. To me, it has to be thought through, and they have to be like, this is good for my pocket or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
no way
exactly.
this
Like you
isn't
said,
thought
man, they
through.
were starting building their buildings out a year before it was even legal. So they
Well,
already
that was
knew what was
Florida,
coming.
Florida for sure. Yeah, Florida, the good old boys. But it's just crazy. It's
Now let's
rampant
think
all
about-
over, and I worry for the next states coming through. Because
Yeah.
they look at those states and go, "Oh, that's a good idea."
right. Oh, look what we've learned from California. Look what we learned from Colorado. Look what we learned from Michigan. We're just
They
gonna
don't
take all the
learn at
worst-
all.
I know,
It's
we're just gonna take all
crazy.
the worst parts and implement them because of fucking greed.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, here's the thing, man. I don't think I would vote yes for a Prop 1 again, unless they did this one specific thing, and that's I completely understand where they allowed townships to opt out. If the township had a vote, okay, so voting is broken down by districts, it's broken down by townships, it's broken down by districts within townships, right? So you can have you can look up your specific township's percentage of voting per whatever matter, right? And so my specific township where our farm is voted 60%. It was like 61% or something in favor of that was a yes vote for Prop 1. What should have been written, this is in my mind, what should have been done is if it was a no vote, if it was a 60% no vote, then they don't write an ordinance. Then they have the ability to not write an ordinance. But I think if the township, if the people spoke and they said yes, 60% yes, and that township should have been mandated by the state to write at least an ordinance allowing micro businesses, something, anything, something. They had to have written a business, a transportation business, something. Because with a red zone, you can't even have transport. You can't do any of that. And I think that if we had a more robust micro business industry where there was more of a variety of stuff than when we had these events where people are trying to have different varieties of vendors at their show, they could actually have that, because right now they're like, in my mind, I think that they're stuck with either like, yeah, okay, HIFA could show up, but they probably can't sell their products. They might be able to like have some soil there and like show their microbes and like have a microscope and like do some other really cool shit at a booth. But as far as like, you know, the community expectations of showing up and like there being packs on the table and stuff, that's not happening at licensed events. There's not.
All these people from Ohio and Indiana are going to come up to this Big Cloud event and be like, what the fuck is this?
So that's all.
Expectations maybe changed. Yeah.
That's all. That's so.
I don't
That's
think
what
so,
I'm
man.
trying
I think the people are going to be up here happy just to get weed. Just like they're the 90%
always
of
are. They
people coming
always
into
are.
the
Yeah, but they can just go to a dispo and get it.
But
It's the same.
what I'm wondering, that's all. That's
That's
all.
why it's not any
Might be
better.
in for a.
That's all in the past.
There are
Like,
people.
that's all shit we can't change. So like,
Yeah,
what I've
for
been
sure.
thinking about is like, it's kind of gotten. And I'm coming from out of state. I've only been here like 2-3 years now, but it's kind of gotten stale as far as like, all right, we had to battle the MCMA, which was a big long fucking battle. They're kind of dead, but there's still companies here that are greedy as hell in their MCMA. So I'm
Well, they're not
like,
MCMA,
what
but MCMA
do
is
we do
dead.
to improve
But
the
yeah,
laws?
they are.
What do we do to improve the laws? How do we get bills started again?
Yeah.
You know, we need to do that kind of stuff, because
we go back and we push for.
then we can hound our reps
allowed
like
in
Spartan
these zones.
does about that bill. But I haven't seen any news about like new bills that bring it back to a balanced system. And maybe we need to talk to people that can do that and start getting the word out, because it has gotten kind of stale. It's been legal for what, 5 years rec?
I think it's
10 years
actually
med.
the townships that voted in favor of Prop 1 are not allowed to have a micro business. The townships should be forced to write that order.
So we have to start like
proposing.
So you have to talk to your local state rep.
Yeah.
Give them a call, send them emails. That's even easier. You can find out who your local state rep is really easy by Googling it.
Yep.
And there you go. And then you can just Google them and say, look, this is an issue, a common issue across all of the state that you could help everyone in the whole state with, but specifically even in this jurisdiction, you know, especially I'll pick on you, Red, because we know your jurisdiction is assholes about it.
Right. Yeah.
And you could just point out every ridiculous thing, and say, look, these are all the requirements for something that 63% of the people voted for in our district.
Right.
And I can't even, and I'm getting treated like a second-class citizen in my own home, and this is ridiculous. It's like I feel like I have to move out of my own jurisdiction, out of your jurisdiction, just to be able to do what the whole state voted on to be free. You know,
and they tell
that's how I
us
would approach
we're
it.
able
like that.
to.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so everybody's clear, like, if you have the ability to, you can like, what is it? You can go out and get a vote cast for a ballot. You can do it a local ballot initiative for a zoning ordinance for this, and you can do that. Issues reside in some localities, such as mine, where it's a vacation neighborhood and people aren't at their residences like 8 months out of the year. There's, you know, driveways that are 400 feet long, no trespassing signs. You step foot on the property, you get a fuck off my property. You know what I mean? Like, there are some stipulations to just like flyering and like going door to door. And
we got email.
Yeah,
Ain't no driveways on the internet.
Like, I mean, again, man, like these 2000, some of these people. Okay, the mean age of my township is 65. You know what I mean? Like, chances are half these people don't use.
Airdrop. That's an airdrop.
Oh, airdrop. You know what airdrop is.
Walking around airdrop.
We rent a plane and just litter the hell out of the place.
You know,
I got a drone, dude.
He's got a drone.
65, mean age of 65, you know, voted in favor. But, you know, those are just some of the hurdles, right? Where I think, like it's almost easier just to like go above all of the municipals and just go straight at it and go for it.
Go straight for, that's the thing. And
vote, you know,
maybe we need to do that. I don't know.
Well, the thing is all the municipalities.
I think
all the municipalities started adopting all their ordinances against caregivers because some law told them what to do.
I don't like the segregation of like little municipalities and stuff. I've always been.
That's what
I
I have
don't
a
like the
challenge with
whole like
too.
we don't like that, so we're gonna do what we want in here. Well, that's kind of what the state did, and then and I just that's a bit, and then
Yeah,
it
but
makes
when you
hurdles like this. So it's like, all right,
but
everybody's happy generally, except we got Red Setter in a terrible township.
yeah, but then when you have that hurdle, you have steps. You can go up, right? So like if you run into
That's
like so your first step is the ordinator, the local
yeah.
ordinance guy, because you might go in that local ordinance person,
Hey,
whoever they are, and they might say, "Look, we wrote an ordinance to look good. This is just cookie cutter from somewhere else. We're not enforcing this thing. You do whatever the fuck you want."
And
They might actually say that.
because I don't
or
want
Spartan, what I was thinking was they might be like, listen, we haven't thought about that in 5 years.
I'd be called an ageist
Exactly.
in chat. I'm not trying to be offensive in chat to anybody else, because me personally, I'm not even 40 and I hate using email. That's all I'm getting at.
Okay,
I'm not even
we'll just go
40.
down there and talk to them. Well, yeah, you have to do it during the day.
Yeah, you can't. You just can't go on these people's property.
Well, they got town meetings, and that's because I try to make mine, but I never make them. I want to bitch about taxes, but that's a
Well, they're
different
always during the
subject.
day when most people are at
Um,
work, which is frustrating.
Exactly.
No,
It's very frustrating
we're in
that
a
the
place
hours
where
they
there is
do
no
and
internet.
stuff.
You know what I mean? Like,
But
you gotta
that's
get
what you gotta
satellite
fight
internet.
against.
That runs off of a potato. That doesn't work. So
Yeah.
it's different, man. It's not a city. Cities are completely different than these like.
Well, then you can go to the city, man. You can go to just your local rep and see, like, look, I can't get anywhere with
Yeah.
this township that's running off a potato. Can you get them something better than a potato down there so I can get through and get them to work on my issue? And I tell you what, if they get a call from their state rep down at the local, locality, that gets that bee's nest.
I see
It
Rick
does.
in
It really
chat
does.
saying that he's talking to get caregivers more options, and I love that. And
That's what I'm just saying. We just have to be proactive positively.
I'm absolutely positive. What
Keep
what
at
I'm
it.
not positive about is my township saying that I have to be on 5 acres to be a caregiver.
Yeah.
I have to live at my property to be a caregiver. It has to be zoned agricultural to be a caregiver. I'm already zoned commercial. I'm already on 2 acres.
That's where
I
you
have-
just have to
I have
show
a
up and be like,
commercial septic and
every
everything.
single
Some
meeting
kid
and
a
annoy
lot
them
of
with
money
the
for that
same
septic tank.
speech.
You know what I mean?
How
It's
that's
ridiculous.
that no other small business has to deal with stipulations like this and costs
it's
that are
insane, dude.
associated to that. And you say that every time, I guess.
And then you
I
video
I'm
it.
allowed to have patients
Video.
18 years old on my property. My patients aren't
Hopefully
allowed
they get
to clean
frustrated
on my
one time and blow up on you, and you
Everything
get that
must
on
be
tape.
indoors. All of the growing cannot. Everything has to be behind fences. Like just the township stipulations alone. Even if the state allowed caregivers in dispensaries, the township stipulations alone are more strict than a licensed facility. I don't see licensed facilities mandated 5 acres.
The way, unfortunately, the way they change usually.
What about that?
In an old ice cream shop on literally a 0.05.
I'd vote for you, Red.
You know what I mean? Next to a home. There's a house right next door to them. You know,
I'd vote for you. By the way, you're old enough to vote, run for president too.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for that shit.
Oh, I'm old enough in 2028, so just a couple more
Young
years.
buck.
Yep.
But
You have to
the
be
thing is,
30
they need to
fucking
do
5.
something at the
Yeah,
local
how
level
crazy is that?
first.
It's crazy.
Should be a
It's
maximum
the
of
local
45.
locality that's fucking us. Can't even get a license. I'd love to play ball license. You know, it can't. Look at township says no.
Dude, it's so overregulated. I often think about other industries and in which I have very little experience or knowledge of, but I'm like, man, what other industries out there are so heavily handed regulated?
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine that pharmaceutical companies are even this close.
But
Well, they are. It's the
I-
same way, though.
that's-
But see, the difference is they have
that's
the
all
money.
bad.
Right.
They
But
have the
there's a
money
shit
to
ton
lobby
of
the
good in
government
this
to
state
get things
legally
changed
for the
to make it
cannabis
work.
that brought me here and left a legal state that I've been, that I was born in.
Mhm.
So like the Michigan system's out of the country because I looked at a lot of states. Michigan system's a pretty damn good one, to be honest. It's in the top 5, I'd say.
Oh yeah. For sure.
So that out of now 15 or 20, I don't know how many states, it's all snowballing. So I don't know. It does suck, but that's my whole point. Is just
I agree.
maybe it's time to
But it
keep
can get
working on
better.
it. And
Doesn't have to get worse.
I plan on hitting my rep up for a different reason. And I was thinking about that just today. I was like, well, maybe we do need to push for even more balance, even more small business directed bills or amendments or whatever they want to call it,
Mhm.
So maybe that's something we can do this summer or something.
I almost just worry that
Bug our reps.
these litigators, they really like to make and write new laws because they get to slap their name on it. I never see anybody like working to deregulate, and that's almost, I feel like, what we need right now is some sort of deregulation at the small business level, not more regulation correcting it. It's almost like decriminalizing, right? Where it's like something's been criminalized and you have to like decriminalize it.
You can't
which
just
isn't-
take the law
there's
away and be like,
still-
everybody do what you want for now.
Right. There's still at this point
That's
because
not
it's
how
so
it
new.
works. You have to
No, I
go
know, but
forward.
I think we've gone past.
Yeah, you have to
the
kind of
point of-
regulate to open it up, right? You have to use a regulation to kind of open it up because there's really nothing yet. So it's like, give us a guideline, give us
I
something.
know, but I think we've gone so far with these guidelines that it's prohibitive to new businesses entering the space.
No, I think I agree with what you're saying, but what happens is like when the regulatory committee sits down and they have public meetings and everybody can get involved in it. And I haven't done it myself either, but again, the times aren't always great with me to be able to make those, but they take public comment and you can and they're supposed to weigh it. I don't know how much it's weighed, but you can be that person that bugs their
They won't
ear.
weigh it if you don't say it.
Exactly.
For damn sure. That's
So
what I've started to learn. Like, and we can't just snap our fingers and disappear this whole system.
You can go on the CRA's
have to
website
fix
and
it.
they have these regulatory meetings. I believe
Fix it
monthly
as the
now.
boomers drop out of it. That's kind of what happens. But yeah, so
They just got a
that's
new
a bunch
person.
of fucking weed news.
It's actually also another weed news is fairly recently they got a new leader of the CRA, so a new director, and it's
really?
Yeah, so Andrew Bisbane's gone, and I forget what was it.
He was a police. Yeah, he was a cop.
And
Yeah,
dude,
now
they are
he
going
came in, he started
hard.
cracking down. Like,
oh my god! Every month,
cracking down.
I get their bulletins every month.
Me too, man.
Yeah, and dude, the monthly bulletins that they put out on the fines and stuff they're levying, like people just for the waste disposal, right? People they had they did a site visit to one processor grow facility, something like that. And they had one metal trash can with a black bag full of like trimmings in it, like probably from like deleafing or something. It was outside the building in a non-secure space, $2,000 fine, right? That's not a huge fine. Another one, oh man, I think it was either 30 or 60. I think it was $30,000 fine for burning sticks in their lot and behind it, instead of like disposing it, according to the state's guidelines. They asked the city, and this is again where the regulation really starts fucking things up, because the city said it's okay to burn things, but the CRA says it's not. So you can't do that, even if your municipality says. You have other regulators to answer to.
Man,
and so
that would
because
be a cool job.
Well, that's like what Rick was saying. They're working on
burning shit,
correcting municipality problems.
So no, I like this comment here. I like that comment because I think that they are overreaching their boundaries big time with caregivers.
Exactly, and no, they're that exactly what they're talking about. It sounds like the new directors are a little bit more level-headed.
I shouldn't have to jump any extra hurdles just to be a caregiver in my township.
Because you moved there when we should be operating as a state.
The MMFLA,
in my opinion,
existed, dude. We bought this property in 2015. The MMFLA was sort of hinting, like I was like, oh, they're going to start allowing caregiver products in the dispensaries, like legally. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, I'll be able to get my shit tested and like get a tax ID and whatever. You know what I mean? No, that wasn't what happened. They wanted the townships to opt in. So I go, hey, I bought a property. It's X amount of square feet. It's fucking commercially zoned, commercial fucking well septic, everything. I'd like to get a municipal license for the MMFLA because I was anticipating its thing, and they were like, well, we're gonna keep an eye on this thing. And so when it finally came, I was like, all right, how about that, let's talk about this thing. And they're like, well, we're just not ready for it, we're gonna wait for other townships. Dude just kept beating around the bush until they finally told me that they didn't want to do it. They were expecting recreational to be on the table. This has now been 2 years now. Recreational hits, and they're like, no, we're opting out on some bullshit. Opt out, and then all of a sudden, behind everybody's back, right when everybody leaves in it was like September. You know, everybody goes
What's
home.
that,
Everybody
Fat
goes back to
Freddy?
Florida in September. So then they passed the
Listen.
caregiver ordinances in 2021.
If we could
Oh.
get Spartan or me as a lobbyist, I can bug. Come
Oh,
on,
man.
let me get in the doors.
Talk about
We
changing the
get like
world.
Spartan a banner that says "I am
That
Spartan."
makes no sense. Get out of here.
Dollars in Lansing.
Well, Red, even
You're
at that
fired.
at that point, like
Yeah.
what you're describing to me, still then I would at the very least, I would get down a piece of paper and I would write down the name of every fucking person that sits on that council or whatever it's called.
Exactly.
And I'd make sure that by the next election, everyone knew that who I wanted to support, and it wasn't any of those names.
I'm not a
It
resident.
also-
here,
it-
bro. I'm not.
it
a
on-
resident. I'm technically not a voter.
Yeah, but you're a landowner,
man. I am a landowner, but I'm not a
so
resident.
that matters. That you pay property taxes.
pay taxes,
therefore,
yeah.
You
That's
pay
that's all that
taxes, yeah.
matters, bro. So exactly what he said, but I would also take all those names, and it sounds like you could write a letter or an email
Each one of them.
to CRA with all that and say, hey, this is a municipality that's trying to operate outside its boundaries. If you want
Yeah.
to look into that, because it sounds like there's
You know, that's not a bad idea. Now that
municipalities.
It sounds like they're
Reverse this shit.
taxing you without representing you, huh?
And-
Well, these people work for, even though the CRA is like a hurdle for growers and metric and all that, but they do work for us. It's a tax.
It's the official in the game. It's the
division.
official in the game. Nobody likes them.
So we have to make them work for us. And it sounds like the new the new director sounds like they're working a little bit
Yeah.
better.
what it sounds like in
So,
there, if you go
instead of
through
treating it
and
like a
read
force.
their caregiver law, it sounds like they're trying to like set this up for like caregiver licensing or something, because they basically make it sound like you're going to have multiple caregivers on your property, so you're required 5 acres, and then they're saying that you can have a caregiver parcel every 25 feet apart or something like that. So now they're saying that
Yeah,
you can
see,
have
none of that.
That's
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
just not. It's all ridiculous. So
It's
that's
ridiculous.
yeah.
They're
I'd be
simply
writing
gonna
a rep
have 25
and
caregivers on a
CRA.
5-acre lot, you know, and at most, me and my wife are going to have 2. I think that they could at least allow and say, you know, a family entity, even if you have some kids that are 18, 21 years old and they're, you know, whatever. And so you can only be so big on your little property, you know what I mean? If you're small, I don't know. Like I always try to like trudge this line of deregulation with, you know, a little bit of like moral regulation, right? Like something that's like, don't overgrow too big, because it's just bad for the environment and it's just bad for humanity and things like that. So like I have this like moral ethic of size scale of where I think that I need to be. And as soon as I start getting to the point where I have to start encroaching on either other forms of life or humans, that I need to stop. You know what I mean? And so like that's my personal politics. So like I want to like remain. That's why I want to like just kind of like do this micro business thing, because I think that in the micro business there's a lot less threshold. There's a greater threshold. There's a less threshold for error, risk, pollution. Failure, things like that. And then like look at Skymint. You know, like they're fucked. You know, if they have to end up paying all that money and they don't have it, imagine not having that kind of capital. Like, ouch, dude. You know, that's the type of like
Sorry,
unfortunate.
Red, I don't have any. The only remorse I have is for the employees, the people that have, you know, taken a job with them.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, that's
I feel sorry for all of them.
The plant did. I don't know. I kind of went off track and topic, like going into that realm, but like basically
change is a little rough sometimes.
like-
And that's, you know,
like
that's
I'm all for
sometimes what it
growing a
looks like
business until it starts
when you change a market. To be
rehash
honest,
bad, you know.
big corps are gonna fall. Those people hopefully will be able to get new jobs. I mean,
the bigger you are, the harder you fall too, right? You
Yeah.
know, like it's a bigger
Yeah.
risk, bigger reward, you know.
I'm
And
not
they,
a fan
they
of
took on the risk and
it's
that's the
centralization,
reward.
you know. And if we had more smaller, you know, like,
exactly. If we have
even
more
if it's a
smaller, they could
chainsaw
get jobs there.
even a chainsaw
So-
manufacturer, like if there's more like if every town had a small chainsaw manufacturer,
That'd be a lot of chainsaws.
I know it's
What is this?
well,
What is this? The Purge?
I like a sawmill, for example, rather than having like one giant lumber yard on the West Coast, you know, and we're shipping all
Yeah,
along.
that's
like,
how it used to be. You
dude,
had a ton.
dude,
My
it is.
family had one like
Yeah,
100 years
you
ago.
drive
I think.
around, you'll see people's yards with stacks of logs, I guarantee they're a small mill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mean like a wood.
Well, there's a
box.
lot
I
of
mean,
people,
like
you know,
logs.
like you homesteading that are buying their own little home mills.
That's it. That's it.
Machines.
And
So
Yeah.
they'll just plank their own crap. I've seen it. I'm like, that's
Yep.
man. If I were doing that, I'd get one of those.
And there are
And,
those.
you know, you
dudes
get
that
your
are
own power
refurbishing
source, and you're
chainsaws.
set.
So there kind of is a township chainsaw manufacturer, like in almost every town. You know, it's just a small engine repairman. You know, if you look up your local small engine repairman, you could probably buy a chainsaw.
Yeah.
You know, and so in those small ways, like we can kind of defeat this giant unnecessary industry because like we have the ability to, you know, locally do all of these small things, even if it were like look, Detroit used to have its own, you know, huge like iron industry, steel industry, and all this other stuff. We just started pushing stuff away and utilizing other stuff based on costs. And I don't know, maybe that's like putting it in different locations is a good thing, like I said, to make it smaller. But I don't know, like
I don't know. It's kind of like to me. I look at it kind of like
be regional with it, you know.
yeah, because it's like a vegetable, right? Like it's gonna be
right.
fresher. It's not like it's gonna get to you, you know, quicker. I just like the whole idea
So
of
they
a
put
bunch
the
of
steel
small,
industry next to the automotive industry. It made sense that way, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because the
sure.
automobiles are using it, and there's a lot of construction, you know.
Well, yeah, like vertical integration with Winewood, where he's doing his whole process right there at the same place.
Yeah, but at the same time, at scale, you can afford to, you know, for example, ship your car manufacturing overseas, right? And then ship all those components back here because the labor or whatever it is might be so much cheaper.
That is the mentality that says
right.
Business, right?
Right.
Is it
That's when you start going MSO
on the
fucking
environment and
peak innovation.
So that's what I want to talk to you about, Red, is
ability.
you brought up in terms of scaling, you brought up something about, you know, the second that you feel like you're encroaching on basically other life form, you know, that you need to, you know, that's where kind of your limit is.
Yeah.
I want you to expand on that because, you know,
well, that's kind of where we were. We kind of were. That's where I was saying, like, that's kind of like a centralization approach. You just like you get so big that you now are monopolizing a industry, so now everybody has to rely on you. So what ends up happening with that is now, like, rather than there being just a bunch of you all over the world, we're like there's different streams of energy being utilized there. There's, you know, transportation, there's all kinds of these different forms of movement plus waste as you do it. So if you have something that's centralized, then there's a lot of like back and forth, right? There's a lot of there's people going back and forth. There's air travel, there's shipping travel, there's whatever, communication travel, all these different forms. Whereas if there's a hub everywhere, there's a lot less of this unnecessary usage of energy. You know what I mean? There's maybe even more availability for things like jobs for that, you know, just something small, but
less logistics, more like manufacturing, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's also more ability for competition, right? Less monopoly,
Definitely.
more competition drive. We all know what competition drives a lot of things. Sometimes it drives prices, sometimes it drives quality.
Innovation, quality, prices,
Innovation are the most important things. So that's kind of where, like, I see centralization as creating almost a I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Like centralization commodifies everything, right?
It's basically becomes one giant pyramid scheme, and if we go too deep into this, the World Economic Forum would like to have a word with you and probably knock at your door
on the late session.
Exactly.
Tomorrow night.
I try not to like get too deep into this stuff, but like that's why I just like
NSA is always listening.
It's just like for me, I love the idea of just like exponential growth. I love the idea of capitalizing and all of these other things, but the fact is, like, look at the plant in Wixom, you know, because we rely on that one plant in Wixom, it just so happens to be on a fucking river. They've now polluted the Huron River twice. They're probably subsidized by the state, and they probably, you know, get write-offs or fucking bailouts or whatever it is to, you know, clean up their waste, and no big deal. But now we can't eat fish out of the Huron River. This is in my backyard. The Huron River's in our backyard. Can't eat fish out of this river. At least there's an advisory not to. That includes Ford Lake, probably Belleville Lake. That's going to end up
this week, Red, we had a win. So that's all that matters.
What was our win this week? Because I'm all good
Skyman.
about
Skyman
failing.
failing.
So
So
yeah.
that's a good one for us.
So like, all right.
I'm gonna light up some
My
sour D.
entire life, right?
What
all
are
of
you
my
smoking,
family-
Red?
Dude, I need to smoke something.
You haven't smoked this whole 49
Yeah, I just hit
minutes.
mine. for the
I have
first
You
time.
need to smoke something, bud.
Trying to relight it.
Get ready
and
for
knocked
halftime.
out. I barreled. I look there's the rest of it. It's a hollow freaking joint. Hollow freaking joint. Look, just to be clear, the big three provided livelihood for my family since the early 1900s. So I'm not against big industry. You know what I mean? I think that we need to just take a look at the way that we
100% Red. And
have industries.
I already told Anything Grows. I'll tell y'all tomorrow night what I'm hitting my rep up that's not cannabis related about. But it's same thing. It's how they handle big corporations and stuff, and how they handle our money. It just needs to be handled better. But
And I'm not against capitalism or anything.
that's
like
why that we have the
It's
late
a matter
stage.
of utilizing it responsibly. You know what I mean? Like we have like this great capitalism is a great thing. But it can be
That's
just
why we gotta keep
evil.
bugging them
You know what I mean? It can
when
be
they don't do it right.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's the only thing we can do. That's all
And
we can
Earth
do.
doesn't have much time left if we keep
Well, yeah,
the way we are.
that's yeah.
So bringing that whole thing back from the encroachment on other life forms and doing what we are doing as small craft farmers, Red, one of the ways that's been ingrained in my brain through my family's businesses and my education and all that is kind of the whole idea of supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you can really get into the one of the, I guess, pitfalls you could call it of capitalism and the way things can go with running I guess at some level an extremely successful business. When you look at people like Google and Apple and these massive corporations, is there's just always seems to always be room for growth. And
yeah,
there's certainly been, for me in particular, there's certainly been events where like I've come home with a lot, and there's certainly been events where I sell out very quickly. But I've been trying to focus that in on, my own personal growth. Is like, how many lights do I need on right now? If I have the flowering capacity of 8, 10, 12 lights, do I need to be flowering out 12 lights worth of plants right now? Should I be flowering out 10? Should I be flowering out 6? At what point is too much? At what point am I wasteful and overgrowing and have to stick shit in the freezer or whatever? I've never sat on products, so it's never really been an issue for me. And I think, I've been certainly blessed in that regard, having the demand side of things. But the supply thing is like been the challenge for me always. And that's why the scalability and going commercial and things like that is so enticing. But at what cost, right? Today, for example, I got literally stopped on the way out of the Fledge today by someone in their car because they recognized the shirt I was wearing and asked me if I had any cookies left. And yeah, I did, because I was bringing home some for myself. You know what I mean? Well, I came home with none today because he caught me on the way out. But I only came home with 2 jars. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that I didn't bring a crazy amount or anything. It was just what I had, but I have lights off right now. I'm not flowering out all 10 lights of my capacity. I could have came home with more jars, but I feel like, the supply and the demand is at a reasonable level. It's meeting, expectations. But guess what, dude? I'll tell you what, if I had 100 jars of lime skunk today, I wouldn't have come home with a single one.
Your supplies problem is almost over.
Totally okay, man. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're meeting your demand and you're now when you have an oversupply, this is what crashed the market in the 30s, right? Was the oversupply. They were just
that's what I was gonna say. They jumped from like getting, I don't know what does it take to open a restaurant, a reasonable amount, like $1 million.
No, dude, no, man.
You have to build it from the
could get, like,
ground up.
30 grand. You could probably lease something from somebody. You could probably open something. You know, if you're talking purchase a space and do a couple $100,000 maybe.
Well, yeah, but with
Yeah,
the
but what-
employees, payroll, like equipment,
Yeah, that's
for
all.
sure, a
I
couple
mean,
hundred
a
grand,
big.
but-
Okay, let's say like something like that.
Let's do a
Put
million.
it this way,
But what's
Give me a million.
interesting is
Million is my
they skip going from investments, like looking for investments like that level, and they just want like that $200 million investor from, the bank or whatever, and that's what
Yeah,
happened. And then
yeah,
it floods the market with oversized factories.
Right,
Our
right.
work is, I don't know how many square foot, but it's 4 people running it plus the boss. So like that's not many people for the amount of stuff,
Yeah,
and we're not.
that's solid, dude. You're not producing a ton of waste.
That's a
You're
very
not-
high GDP per
Like-
capita.
Like,
Yeah,
okay, so
so,
at
like,
your
If we had
scale,
1,000 of us type level competing, that'd be really fun. I told him I want a kickball league so I can kick some ass. But I don't want to fight any MCMA crappers.
I want
and
to.
that's what you do.
I don't even
You
wanna
shut
play
off
with
your
them.
lights. You do responsible supply and demand, approach.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rather than in trying to reinvest or pay,
Do that
off
cookies.
somewhere else and try to expand during a advent, recession that's gonna. I'm not talking about economic. I'm talking about cannabis, but like, or just flooding the market. I don't know. It's like there's some strange stuff with that going on. But
5 minutes to hashtag.
there's I lost my train of thought on that. For girl, you had me thinking of something when you were talking because it was
supply and demand and turning off lights and
yeah,
not
just
overproducing.
just not overproducing, but like you can still scale up, right? To the point, and that's what it was. This is what it was. Is you can still scale up, and sometimes it means you just have to like diversify. You know what I mean? Like you might have to like actually diversify into another sort of niche, so to speak. Like keep what you have and then
Like jack of all trading.
expand into another profitable maybe subcomponent of what you already have. Maybe there's some sort of a
like a turb cookie or Fragoli flag.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
value
what you're saying,
added value added item, for example.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Rather than expanding I don't know, in scale and size, expand your palette of your variety of something,
Or entirely diversify your business portfolio. Look at Elon Musk, right? He's like, all right, yeah, I got this whole Tesla thing. All right, let's go make some spaceships.
Well,
let's go dig some tunnels. I'm gonna go build a town in
To
Texas.
be honest,
like,
he didn't start that. That was like Walmart and Target, where they started buying up everything and realizing they can just make everything their own copy with their own brand.
oh, yeah, Google does it with tech startups. They have their
And
own,
tech,
like,
exactly.
incubators
They
and
all
stuff.
do the same. They're like
Yep.
you see, and TV companies. That blew my mind. TV companies would come out of nowhere. Oh, we're making this. Now they're now they're Samsung's into fridges.
Do you know who
Yeah.
owns MSNBC or NBC? I guess
Probably Nestle.
BlackRock.
that's a good. Well, yeah, that's. I'm sure they own a percentage of it. But Comcast owns
Oh yeah.
MSNBC. So Comcast
That
is
you
running the
know
Olympics.
what,
You
for
know what I
girl,
mean? Like,
remind me of Comcast tomorrow, because I love reminding the public about a little thing about Comcast we often forget, and it's
Ooh.
big.
good.
Yeah.
'cause I hate that.
Yeah,
company.
I use them, but they're a fucking monopoly in my opinion.
They suck.
AT&T's coming, but whatever.
I'm
Anyways,
gonna I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a
Okay.
guess on this instrument for tonight, but I'm gonna turn off my
Oh.
video, leave my mic on, and
Oh,
I want chat. I'm gonna do one note on this instrument, and I want
I'll give them
I
1
want-
minute.
Yeah, I want
1
you to
minute
give-
of chat.
give
guessing.
chat a quick second before
Yeah.
you guys guess it.
Is this gonna
hopefully.
vibrate?
We got a minute and a half.
I'm just gonna hit
He's
it
giving
once,
us a
guys. Ready?
preview here.
Oh, right now. Okay,
Yeah, just listen.
go ahead.
That's it. That's all you get.
Oh, that was so quick. All right, chat. You got about a minute. Guess whatever the hell that was.
It's a different instrument. Hasn't been played yet.
I don't think it was an instrument.
On
I think
the
you're lying to
MBGS?
us.
It sounded like one to me, but I'm gonna hit my dab, so I'm just gonna heat up this and listen to you.
I think I know what it was, but I don't.
I got
I think you do too, but I don't want. That's why I said don't guess.
I
yet,
think
because,
I know what it is too.
I think it's even more strange that I think I know what it like. The two items that I'm putting together in my head is a
you
very
got about 10 seconds because he's
Item.
gonna have to use it for hash time.
it's true.
So I have wood block,
What-
knock
what-
block,
After we get
cowbell.
this correct, I'm definitely going to tell you what I had.
Red, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Red.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Red. We got like 20
Okay,
seconds.
so you're hitting something with something, and what you're hitting it has a leather strap, and you're hitting a cowbell with a leather strap.
So it's
Not
like
at
a
all. Not at
bondage
all.
cowbell.
Not at all.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
yeah.
a wood block.
No, it was wood. It sounds like those wood
2x4
clappers.
and a
Wood.
piece of wood.
Hash time. Wood block.
Wood block.
Oh, that's sort of a cowbell.
it's
No,
technically
because he
not
actually
wood, but
has
it
a
is a wood
cowbell.
block.
So if he didn't have a cowbell, I
it's
might
not,
say
you're not
that.
spanking it with leather, so
No, it's a drumstick.
Yeah.
Fun
I
fact, that's
kind of
the
want leather
instrument.
now.
That's the instrument you use in the song "Sleigh Ride" for the.
Why do you have so
comping
many
of the state.
instruments? You play music all the time?
Yeah, dude. I started with piano in third grade, and then just went from there.
Do you host
Oh, man.
like Spartan?
trying to get a
Steel,
keyboard.
Christmas
I
time.
have one.
What would that be like? Christmas carols.
Yeah, I could see Fergoli passing out dabs and like playing stuff. One man band over here, saxophone.
Got like the harmonica like attached to whatever
Yeah.
the thing is called.
Always got a little
What's the one
vibe
people
that goes
sequence
around the
told me
neighborhood.
about? French kiwi juice or something like that. FKJ. It's this guy. No, it's a band guy, but he's a one-man band. Yeah,
Okay.
FKJ. French
I think I know what you're talking
kiwi
about.
juice.
Uh,
But he does like every instrument. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was total like I in high school I was literally a football player and the concert band president. So on my varsity letter jacket, it said football and band. I was that guy.
See if I can get this.
I didn't know where I belonged, you know.
I trimmed this up this weekend.
go back, hand. Oh,
There you go. Oh,
I had it.
put it in front of your face. Get a piece of
Put the
paper.
hand closer to it. Ah,
It
Put the
didn't
mug
work.
close to the camera.
tell us what it. Oh, there you go. Tell us what it is.
How does it do that but not hold
Just
it?
Because
There
it
you
wants to focus on your face. Cover your
Oh
face.
yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. So
Try
that's
some-
Mystique
My
number
God.
1.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, I trimmed up. I don't know. I got like 3.5 jars. They're all giant nuggaroonies, man. Like
I'm
up,
coming to get
up
some of
and
that.
down the stems. It's crazy.
Ooh, organically blunt's got a good.
Smells
idea.
kind of. It's crushed berries, and it's definitely got a berry smell.
Nice.
But yeah, high. I don't know. The high's kind of like. At first, I thought it was a sleepy one, but that must have just been the day. Now it doesn't get me too high, but it's just a mellow kind of subtle high. So I don't know if I'll keep it around. We'll see. I like the smell a lot though. It's kind of gassy berry.
Did you blast through that Chernobyl yet?
Yeah, I'm out of dabs. Been out
Really?
of dabs. Yeah,
No shit.
I gave
I
a
love
lot
that.
away
I love
too,
that.
but
Yeah, that shit
I
is good.
dabbed a
So
lot.
fire.
Yeah.
I'm ready when
But-
you are. I'm looking
Yeah,
at,
yeah, we're
to do
working on it.
with it?
I just took one Cavs junkie down, but I don't think that's enough. It's a big one, but it's just not enough. But man, I kind of want to send you some of that. I don't know.
I read it
that-
recently, actually, right
Oh,
right before I read your stuff. I read Cat
That
Junkie. I
stuff's
mixed
so
it with garlic punch and had garlic junkie.
Okay. And then I'm taking down 3 Mac 1s, but there I'm doing my test. I got 5 buckets in flour now because I make 5 different mixes.
Oh, nice.
3 of them are flushes, and I'm testing. One is water with Canazyme and Mammoth P. One is water with Mammoth P, like I always do. And then the other one is just water and Canazyme. Because I'm not gonna ever do water only. If I had a 4th plant, I would. But like, I'm not going backwards. I definitely always use Mammoth P when I flush.
Why would we be
So-
going backwards having to use something?
If
Why are
I
we going
went
backwards?
in my equation, water plus Mammoth P, that works for me. I've seen a difference. So why would I cut
Oh.
out the Mammoth P is what I'm saying. I wouldn't.
Okay.
Therefore, I don't really need to test that.
Okay. I see what you're
If I
saying.
had one, I would for scientific purposes. But right now, it's just a matter of Canozyme, Mammoth P in addition to water, or Canozyme or Mammoth P by themselves in addition to water.
Wait, this is
So-
for feeding, flushing,
Flushing.
flushing.
I started flush yesterday. So today was day 2 of flush. And I have 3 max, all starting the same, all in the same light, same feed scheduled, everything, you know. So I'm just doing a different flush because Canozyme isn't really an enzyme. It just helps promote an enzyme that tells the plant to use up its own nitrogen. It's supposedly the theory. So I've never done that. We're going to see what happens. It's only 5 mils a gal, so we'll see.
The only other thing that I guess we'll say historically flushed with that was similar to that recipe was adding a carb. I always liked adding a carb. I called it an autumn flush, yeah. And I provided an enzyme, a micro. I think it was an enzyme, a microbe, and
to feed the
carb.
microbes.
Yeah, and a carb.
Was that in cocoa?
That was in cocoa, yes. I haven't done that
okay.
in soy organics.
Well, yeah, I do cocoa, so that's why. But yeah.
And it worked great,
I'm
dude.
at.
I had great results. That was after running House and Garden Nutrients, like pretty much, the whole thing,
Okay.
start to finish for years, dude.
Could bury a
Nice.
carp, I suppose.
I got a disco fries flowering out, but it's just in like day 30. So it's just pistols everywhere. It's stout as a mofo. Like, I don't even think I needed the net, but I got one over it. But that's newest. Oh, and I put a Irie Genetics shredder. I had a feminized single seed shredder from Irie Genetics. I don't know the lineage off the top of my head, but shout out to Freakfish. He's a Florida resident, but he's from Michigan. We traded seeds a long time ago in the DGC, and he says that one gave him a pheno that smelled like sour Skittles, like exactly like sour Skittles. And I was like, as a weed, I want that. So we'll see what this one does. It's looking real risey. If you've ever grown Irie stuff, it's got the long sativa like fingers, fan leaves.
Like a
but
blue
we'll see.
like that blue dream.
Yeah, not as bad. That Blue Dream's unique and like it is some fingers.
That's
Those are
fucking
like
huge.
if you've ever seen
Okay, huge.
a long time ago, it was what was it? Rusty Spoon. I forget the name of the video, but it's like that creepy, skinny.
Oh
fingers.
my gosh, I remember that.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? I like spoons. So, can I touch your spoon?
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Rusty Spoon.
Yeah, I
It's
got
like
a shout
the
out.
beginnings of the internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I gotta
gonna
shout
find
out
that
Stang
tomorrow.
Man. He was the first one in chat to get that wood block before I forget.
Oh yeah, let's go back. I'll find it. I'll find it.
It was Stang Man.
Sting.
Stang Man, two ends.
I really we were deep in the conversation, but I realized that
Dun, 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 Mustangs.
conversation ended up getting it looked like who was that? Rick Antis was in here, Mr. Fungi, Dallas.
Organically Blunt got
Organically
Mr.
Blunt.
Fungi to quote.
Those
from
are all
Big
the
Cloud.
promoters and the guys from Big Cloud. Shout out the guys from Big Cloud. And because we were talking about the event, it slipped us to not let you guys know the dates are July 21st through the 23rd. It's going to be called the Legacy Michigan Cup. It's a festival at the Hartford Weedway, they're calling it. I'm guessing it's the Hartford Speedway. Yeah, get out and check that out if you guys are interested in checking out these events. It is a licensed metric event, but still, it's Michigan, it's cannabis, and go check them out.
And they put on a good music show. They've got shit, Bendo Dope was there last time you and I went red. That was kind of cool to hear them.
Sounds
from
like
our
they're
booth.
trying.
Our discussion
Trying
is
to
nearly,
advocate for more.
it is going to be a
caregiver.
different experience, and that's kind of where our discussion is kind of stemming from. But yeah, definitely still want to, I don't want to pass up the point and letting the community know that this event is happening and to check it out. So there's going to be a lot of them happening, and if you are looking for some of your let's say caregiver brands, stuff like that, or looking to box up, there's going to be other events. Gems and Genetics is going to be happening, the camp out version, in June 9th through the 11th at Sarnes Resort. And then they're having a one-day event on the 29th I believe that the location was dropped on that one, but just look at their Instagram just for sake of getting over there and check out their Gems and Genetics is going to be another one. And then, of course, the Third Eye Craft Affair has been rolling. And then I'll just repeat myself about Hash Bash real quick in case you
Hash Bash Cup.
Hash Bash Cup. Yeah, Hash Bash Cup.
I'll be there.
To score some Frigoli. Frigoli will be there, and I highly suggest his
April 1st.
fucking dude. Yeah. Shout out to Indica with a happy birthday, and then shout out to Becca. It was Becca's birthday. Frigoli hooked both Becca and myself up with some birthday treats. I don't have a birthday for another week. I think my birthday is in 9 days. So, but he gave me a little early birthday. So thank you, brother. And then
in case I don't see it, you know.
it was nice. So I really appreciate that. So
Cobra Milk, dude. Shout out Spartan, man. This is
look at that.
I took the terps out. You know, this is just the THCA portion. I took the terps out and made these cookies, of course.
Oh, that's the harsh stuff.
So, oh wait, no, that's the garlic
nice.
one. This one. So this is the Cobra Milk one. I put up a poll on Instagram. I said, "Hey guys," I put up a box of Fruity Pebbles, and I said, "What should the color of the milk be when you're done with this cereal?" And everyone overwhelmingly said pink. So we went with pink for the color of the frosting. There is about a dab's, maybe just under a dab's worth of terpenes whipped into the frosting of every single cookie, in addition to 50 milligrams of single source THC and baked into the cookie. So this is basically a standard cookie that I bake all across all of the flavors: garlic punch, lime skunk, clementine, and Cobra Milk so far. And each one has something unique baked into them in addition to the color and flavor of the terpene frosting. But for example, this one, because to me it tasted like Fruity Pebbles Tricks, something along those lines, of course has Fruity Pebbles baked directly into the dough. And then this one, the garlic punch, well, I'm not baking garlic into cookies, but I did get dried blueberries, and we baked dried blueberries directly into it. Of course, the other ones are lime and clementine.
Hell yeah.
Those are
I
good.
had the lime skunk cookie.
I thought you were gonna say
was
there's
phenomenal, so I can't even imagine what those taste like, because it was like a cookie I've never had before. I mean, like, seriously, it was.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the icing, oh my lord, they're like yeah.
Yeah, it's a very simple royal icing recipe. It's just meringue powder, confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, a little bit of water with the terps and the food coloring. That's it, you know.
Great job.
And then the sugar cookie. It's you know, I'm not a huge baker or anything, but like it is kind of an intense recipe to make the batter itself, because you're like literally whipping the butter, and like then you have to like zest the sugar, so you have to basically infuse the flavor of, like, you know, the lime, for example, into the granulated and light brown sugars. And then, you know, you're kind of mixing things at different rates and all this stuff. It's fun, you know what I mean? It's just another, like, one of those processes that I do, right? You know?
Yeah, but you not being a quote unquote chef, pastry chef, whatever, you do a great job. I mean, seriously, it's great.
Thank you. I mean, I for sure can thank
they're awesome too.
My parents and my grandparents for teaching me a lot of those skills, whether I wanted to learn or not, you know, for a lot of the times. But
yeah, it's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I look forward to bringing as many as possible at the Hash Bash Cup. Like I said, I'll be there vending. We'll have all the mainstay flavors. I'll be harvesting all that here in the next 2 weeks. I'm doing a lot of work in the next 3. But yeah, I know I'll have for sure garlic punch and Cobra Milk cookies, and I'm hoping to have the other 2 as well. The only one I haven't done yet, I guess, out of the actual strains is Mr. Clean. But that's got that kind of limey flavor to it. I had a few people today tell me it smelled just like a Lysol cleaning, like a cleaning cloth or like a cleaning spray or something like that. But it's got almost like this candy root beer finish to it too. So I don't know what kind of cookie I'd make with that, you know, but I think I'll stick to the 4 that I've nailed down so far, because they've all turned out really, really good.
Speaking of the Hash Bash Cup, shout out to Medical Mondays podcast. You should just tune into their shows on Mondays before our show, because what is it, 9 to 11, right before the late session, because they have a pretty cool way of giving away tickets. I was able to score a free ticket for all 3 days.
Yeah.
And all you do is just go on to when they'll tell you how to do it and everything, but you go onto a website and you just put a code in and it just sends you the tickets in an email.
Yeah, they also were in chat
Cool.
a little while ago saying what's up. What's up back to those guys? We were
Yep, I saw them in chat earlier too. Yep. Shout out to Berg and Roach and everybody
Yeah,
out there.
shout
on
out
Medical
Medical
Monday.
Mondays.
they Adam Brooks Instagram as well. If you can catch him live, I'm not sure if he's done any yet, but I know last year he was giving them away on his Instagram lives as well. So I'm sure he may be doing some of those, but the dude gives away a ton of tickets. He makes sure that, you know, there's a lot of people coming in there for all the people that are vending and all the performers, and, you know, making sure everybody's got something to do. And I'm pretty sure he's still got hotel rooms available at that hotel. I mean, it's a side event with the Hash Bash. You know, from my understanding, he's buddy with John Sinclair. He's always on there chatting it up with them when they're on Jazz Cabbage Cafe and stuff. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you'd see John Sinclair in there rolling around. I know what's his name, George Boston George was in there a couple years ago, hanging out and chilling around the pool with everybody. They have pool parties and stuff, you know. The after hours. The hotel's booked out to the cannabis event. It's
There's two hotels right next to each other.
Two hotels. Yeah. I don't know if the second hotel is an addition this year because it's growth, but you know, it brings the circuses in town, you know, and you might get a fire alarm going off every now and then. You might get a
few fire alarms.
Might get a cop in the parking lot giving
Oh
somebody.
my god, the cops showing up! That was amazing. Seeing people packing up their shit so fast and going for the back door. I'm just
really?
like,
when was that last year?
Last year, was it last year or year before, Brad? I can't remember now. My years run together.
Year before.
Year
Okay,
before.
I missed that.
Yeah,
it's for unrelated things. The cops showed up, but because there's a cop out front, people were like, "Fuck this!" And they were
It's
out.
so crazy how quickly people scatter sometimes with stuff like that when they show up just on completely unrelated issues. Like,
you know, the paranoia can get the best of you, I guess. I am thankful though. Well, I don't know. I'm not thankful that there's worse shit going on, but I'm thankful that cops have more important shit to deal with than the cannabis, because that's really how most of them kind of think. You know, I've talked to a lot of cops about cannabis, and they're like, dude, we're just trying to fucking get fentanyl off the street. There's so many motherfuckers dying left and right. Thank God, because I lost people left and right 2 years ago, you know.
You guys remember when Sequence's greenhouse got broken into? He said
Yeah.
the cops were so cool. They were like, "Oh man, sucks. Your harvest is fucked or whatever," and shit like that. Like they didn't even they were real cool about it. They're like, you know, didn't hassle them or anything. So,
dude, I was on the side of the road.
Sometimes they can be. So yeah.
They were searching my car one day. I had allegedly they smelled some stuff. They smelled my arm hair, you know what I mean? Like I was working on the plant.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
What's funny is, you know how I'm always talking about this, and this is kind of one of those instances why I'm always talking things into existence, or like thinking things that were just manifesting things, because basically I was having this thought in my head is I need to wash my arms. I'm getting out of here, I'm fucking reeking, but I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. I'll clean up when I get home. And sure enough, I got pulled over and they smelled my arms, dude. I mean, just sticky arms, dude. You know what I mean? Just all over. I should have had on some fucking sleeves or something, man. And I'm just like doing it just a prune out. This is like fucking late veg or something, or early.
Dude, if you do a harvest, it doesn't matter if you got sleeves or not. You know? If I don't go home and shower, it doesn't matter where I go. I get looks. So.
Oh yeah.
They wanted to search me.
Sometimes, yeah.
They weren't gonna search me, but they knew that I had a concealed permit, and that just didn't help. So I ended up getting flagged for the conceal and not disclosing. And so I'm just talking to the other cop, dude, and he's asking me about my grow, and he's trying to be a little bit nosy, but at the same time he's just like talking about it, you know. And they just like fucking let me off with a non-disclosure $500 ticket, dude. You know what I mean? That shit's ridiculous. But fortunately, the city I was in doesn't have an ordinance for that, so they waived that one. Yeah, dude, talk about some stupid shit with court. But
Interesting. So did they pull your CPL?
no.
So that's cool.
Were you carrying at the time?
I showed them my med card. I showed them both cards. They're like, all right, don't drive with both of them. You know, make sure you don't drive with both, because I stunk. You know what I mean? So they searched me out. I didn't have any fucking weed with me.
So you didn't disclose the second they came up?
The second that they walked up, I didn't disclose, but
yeah,
I did disclose to them after they asked me, you know,
because you're supposed to let them know, like, the first interaction.
Yeah. So they you know, I kindly got out and let them search me because I didn't want to have any issues. Well, I told them where everything was at.
Like,
they were really cool about the whole entire scenario. You know what I mean? It's fucking, they just told me to not, you know, to disclose, you know, next time, you know. They actually said that they want everybody to carry, you know. I mean,
that dude, they honestly look at a smile on their face when they hear that, because they're like, they feel like they're on your team or whatever, you know.
But it made me
just follow the law, so
right. That's why. But you disclose, you know. That's the thing. You're like submitting immediately, like, hey, like, I'm legally required by law to inform you, you know.
Yeah. But it made me not want to, like, conceal anymore. Not want to get renewed just because it's another thing.
Yeah. Hopefully that's changing here in the future with that Oklahoma case.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Oklahoma,
talk about that. What happened with that?
Did you guys see how they overwhelmingly voted down? They voted no on rec.
Well, yeah, but for Growly, let's put it into context. Their voter turnout for the state was 25% of the population. That's utter trash.
Yeah,
like that's a bunch. That's probably
how does
older
that compare
generation
to the other,
getting out,
like, midterm or whatever elections in Oklahoma, though?
No, it wasn't a great rec program either, and so a lot of pro cannabis people voted no.
Well, that, and they're already oversaturated, aren't they? Like, aren't they?
Yeah,
I know that shit's making its way
somebody
here,
in chat earlier said Cookies just pulled out of Oklahoma.
Florida. it's not written well for the super big corporations, so because everybody can play.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
If you brought in the rec, then that would have brought in a whole new fucking regulations. They could have said whatever. So,
dude,
this is me in my opinion, Spartan Grown's opinions, but so I think a lot of people that are pro cannabis there even went in and said, "No, fuck that shit. Let's keep it how we have it. Let's keep what we got going and keep this."
They really missed out on that pass, dude. They really didn't want that. They were heavy on the no.
If you look at a lot of the other states too, like we were talking earlier, like you were saying, the states don't learn. It's like the seems like the voter base kind of learned there. So every time you vote rec in, that's when shit goes to hell.
People don't read not that there's given fine print, but they don't read the details of laws. It's usually the title of the law.
Well, yeah,
what's in their brain, yes or no.
The one run-on sentence that follows it.
That like in Florida, it was make it. It was like make it legal, Florida. Well, that's how. And they're talking about cannabis. Yeah, that sounds like going. Did you read into the details? No home grow. No. You have to be all the stupid laws. So, I think a big thing, and they do that on purpose. But if you could get the info out there, it helps. That's why shows like this and Medical Mondays, all the shows, just talking about it. Make sure you talk about it. Bring it up. That keeps it informed. Yeah, thank you. But
that's the biggest hurdle, even for everyone. This is a new industry. Everything is new, and the information is new, and everybody's got preconceived ideas. I don't want. Some will say brainwashing by the government.
Well, fears.
Yeah, and fears.
They have preconceived fears, and although we know they're delusional or whatever you want to call it, they're not credible fears.
Not based in science.
Exactly, it's ingrained.
Yeah.
Think of other things that are generationally ingrained. And things, it happens.
Things that your parents teach you from day one. You know what I mean? That this is bad. Drugs are bad. This is your brain on drugs. This is it over and over and over again, and then you finally get to the point where like,
that's the biggest. That's
Yeah.
the biggest mind hurdle for me is that I spend a lot of time in these circles that right now with other people, my peers, or fucking even my betters at some things, you know. But then I go into basic population of people who might not even grow cannabis, assuming they have even a tenth of the knowledge, and they have even less. And
Right.
then I go into Lansing with lawmakers, and they're just like regular people. They don't know a damn thing, and they're the ones making the laws.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest hurdle right there. Is just like, no, I gotta get out of that mindset when I go to talk and just assume that they don't know anything about cannabis and talk to them like I'm teaching, a 6-year-old.
Well, that's
About
kind of
Well, I give you a lot.
because a
with
lot
the-
of them
with
don't
the-
even know how to
with the
grow a
Oak-
plant anymore. It's that
the
bad. They don't even know about growing
Oklahoma
plants.
the Oklahoma gun case, my whole positivity spin on that is like literally if you're not into cannabis, why are you looking into cannabis law and learning about it? You wouldn't be.
Right.
So why would you
Before you
yeah.
go there, you have to say what just for everybody who might
Oh,
not
in
know.
Oklahoma, I believe a man was arrested with a firearm and his cannabis, and he appealed it, and a judge was like, "What? No, you can. That's crazy." And
He ruled
dismissed
that
it.
at the Oklahoma Supreme
It's
Court ruled that
yeah,
it was a violation of his what was it? The
Second
amendment.
Amendment
his
rights.
Second Amendment right.
right to bear
Yeah.
arms. Yeah.
And that's my whole point is like if you're
Exactly.
not if these judges and think about it, if you're a judge, you're not into cannabis. Most of them aren't. You're not googling what are the laws about cannabis today, and but you might be a Second Amendment supporter.
Right.
So, but you don't
And
know
making
that
state rights
there's a huge population that just because they have this, they can't have their Second Amendment right. So then you find out, and now you try to change things. So like it's literally about opening up
Congress
people's
shall
ears
make
and
no
eyes.
laws that infringe upon these rights. Go
Well,
fuck
yeah.
yourself.
And-
This is what civil disobedience is for. Because you may take a charge, you may take a court case, but God willing, man, it's gonna turn out.
Well, that's
in a
why it
situation
sometimes
where
works
God's
out.
law-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It got to
God's law
these
prevails,
Supreme
man.
Court of the Oklahoma, and they're
I
like, "Wait,
agree.
what? No,
I agree.
that doesn't count. Just like you can have a fifth of vodka, and you can have whatever
and
you
a
want
fucking
firearm
gun,
related.
as long as you're
So
not like doing it in
exactly.
public.
So
or
the
whatever.
whole point is that you don't abuse it. You don't abuse it. So it's nice to see something like that come into national news. National news. That means other judges are reading that. That means they're gonna stumble upon cases that are similar and be like, "Oh, no, you
There's
dismissed or
precedent.
whatever."
All your lawyer has to
Exactly,
do now is
precedent.
mention
Yeah.
a precedent elsewhere in the country, and that judge is gonna be like, "Ooh, all right, not
So-
my
so-
job,"
And all of a sudden, let's say you got the Second Amendment supporters on the cannabis side for that. It's like, well, that's cool.
And it
stuff
holds a
like-
little bit of weight
that's-
because it's a Supreme
yeah.
Court decision.
Exactly.
So that's pretty nice.
And yeah, so
Encouraging.
yeah.
Very
I
encouraging.
mean, I'm not advocating for civil disobedience because unless you can afford it,
Right.
but it's
But
it's
that's
a
kind of what it
process.
takes. That's kind of
And-
also what
and
it
it-
takes.
if-
Like what
if
Rick
you're
was
into
saying
it.
about the local ordinances are being challenged in courts now. Well, what that took was a local ordinance would had to have been trying to be enforced on somebody, and so whoever's being enforced upon now has a legal right to sue them. And be like, no, you cannot enforce this because it's illegal.
Exactly. And now the system's
So-
finally working. It just always takes forever because these people
Right.
don't know. It's exactly like Spartan said. They have no fucking clue. You have to start from square one, explain what THC in cannabis is. First of all, you have to explain cannabis because they're like, "What's cannabis?" And weed.
No,
marijuana.
bro. Before that, even sometimes, it's you have to explain how to even grow a plant because they just think it's magical or something, or they have
yeah.
weird ideas on even how plants grow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
insane.
These people
Like,
are
I had
not
to ex-
connected to us on any like societal
put-
level.
No, like for 10 minutes, I had to explain why it was dumb to regulate plants by plant size because I could grow one plant to be the size of my entire house if you gave me enough time.
Mhm.
And they couldn't fathom what that meant. I'm like, what are you talking? It's like you just regulate the space like they do in California and a lot of other places. It's just canopy size, and you shouldn't be here counting plants. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it just took me so long to just explain that small concept. It was just like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, and you don't have much time usually with these people because they want to go do whatever they want to do, and
Yeah,
they have to have
yeah.
other people they have to talk to who
Especially
have other issues.
Especially in these public meetings where you get like 2 minutes or 4 minutes, and
That's
once
why you
your
gotta show
time's
up
up,
every
that's it,
time.
you know.
You
Or if
know
you're
who I
off
love?
it,
You know
so-
who I really love? Have you guys seen that? Was it Tad and somebody? They go to public meetings. I want everybody to have a party boat. Oh, I'll have to
No,
bring that up
oh,
on the late sesh. I'll find it tomorrow. These guys trolled the hell out of town meetings. One was like, I don't think we should ban partying. Partying's really sweet. And they literally used their whole 2 minutes with a nice speech, but it's just
Oh, I know what you're
hilarious.
talking about.
Yeah,
the
right.
few kids that I want to go on a boat. And do a boat.
Yeah. I think
yeah. Before we get too far past it, because it was just brought up in chat when we were talking about the
Yeah.
concealed carry and stuff, and yeah, definitely don't carry both because
Yep.
there's conflicting laws going on there. Michigan specifically, I don't know how much I can talk about this without like being the squeaky wheel. You can have your med card, and a person can get their med card, assuming that they qualify, right? They don't have whatever restrictions. That entity, the certification entity, LARA, does background checks on you, and it doesn't really come up whether or not you have a like your concealed carry doesn't come up for LARA, right? That's not something that's going to fail you from getting your med card. When you apply for your concealed carry, now this can be different depending on where you are. Very similar to purchasing, you're going to get asked a question, now if you're a purchaser prior to any of your consumption and they said, do you consume cannabis? And you said no, and then all of a sudden 10 years later you consume. I don't know the time you purchase.
Hold on real quick, Red. I know what you're talking about. It wouldn't even have to been 10 years because that question only got changed in the last few years.
Okay, well, okay, so anyway, that question isn't necessarily on the concealed carry form throughout Michigan. As of, I don't know, dude, this could have changed recently. They may have put it on more counties' forms, but some counties did not have the question, do you have a medical marijuana card? Now, I know that from my understanding, I don't know for a fact, but I believe it's my understanding that I was told from other people that Wayne County had a checkbox, do you have a medical marijuana card? In which case, you would be answering that question. Now, when you get your CPL, when you get a concealed carry, you get a background check. That background check does not, all right, let me rephrase this. When you have a medical cannabis card, that's protected under HIPAA, period.
Yep.
Medical cannabis is protected under HIPAA. Any background check, that doesn't come up. Doesn't matter who does a background check, it's protected under HIPAA. I'm just going to state that. Now, if you check that box stating that you have a medical marijuana card, now you're going to get denied for your thing. Now, if you have a medical marijuana card and you don't check that box, you commit perjury. Some counties in Michigan, because so many people, the rate of medical marijuana cards was so high, this was half a decade ago, maybe, back when a lot of people still had med cards. This may have changed. There were a few counties that did not have that checkbox because they did not have any concealed carry. Everybody was getting denied, basically, and they were having issues because everybody had fucking med cards. You know what I mean? With fucking 20% of the population has med cards, and of those population are people that are trying to apply because it's just rural districts, right? Rural areas, a greater percent of the population has, whatever they're hunting or whatever reason that they have a firearm. Yeah, dude. So it's just like maybe that has changed, but it's not illegal to have both, and it's not impossible to have both. each one has its own protections, and each one is obtainable, depending on whether or not you have those specific questions, I guess.
So yeah,
Loopholes,
I know that.
just like every law.
Yeah.
I remember somebody in
There
chat.
is, man, and they're like forced loopholes, right?
Yeah.
And like I've always kind
Yeah.
of said, that like that's kind of what I believe that a lot of like regulations are.
Hopefully, you won't have to use them soon.
Right.
No.
Hopefully it doesn't come down to
That's-
litigation, but
safety
ultimately that's what it
blankets for people who need
changes
a nice
these things.
cozy blanket.
Yeah, exactly.
Regulation there, make them feel better.
For all we know, right now there could be
Back door for
Michigan
the
cases
asshole to
appealing
fucking
it
cross
right
the room.
now. I know somebody in chat, not today, but it was another time we talked about this. They said they had their CPL pulled, but they were pulled over with both cannabis and a CPL, and the cop personally took it to the gun board or the township or something, and so they pulled
county.
yeah, and so
It's
they pulled
dude,
the-
this is
so
the
it's
thing.
like it's not a connected system, but like
In
you're not
everything you
supposed to do it,
in everything
and hopefully
you
it'll
do,
change.
It's
And-
subjective
and-
by the cop.
Exactly. In everything you do,
Yeah.
it's not what you're doing, it's
Yeah,
whose
yeah,
way whose way you're getting in. So
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know that person's situation.
Pot Brothers.
Yeah, right. Give them a
I
call.
don't
Right?
discuss my day.
yeah. Basically
Am I
that
free to go?
right there.
That's gonna get you off real quick. Just
Dude,
yell. Just yell.
They're gonna
we
love
had
it,
them
yeah.
on GrowTube like years and years ago, and like last year, or maybe I don't know, sometime in the last like 2 years, they were at like one of the top posts on Reddit, and like I was just dying. I'm like, man, like we had these
They're
guys on
wacky,
fucking
man.
YouTube. They're crazy. I love them though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, just be responsible, guys. Be respectful. Understand your situation. Understand what geographical area you are in, because there's a lot of different laws. I mean, the second you go from you know, Michigan to Indiana, certain laws might not change, but the
Well,
second you go
yeah.
from Indiana to Illinois, they might, you know, be significantly different, right?
Yeah. I just did that trip today. And
Yeah.
Set your cruise control.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that
Well,
little
but you know
40
what's
40
nice?
mile stretch.
You know what's nice? I saw in chat there's so many events pop up, which means spring's coming, which means it's just gonna be event city. So that's what I love about the Michigan cannabis community. We don't do much in the winter, but
This is true, dude. This is so true. Especially
but
up here,
the
guys.
spring and summer we make use of that time. So
I
I'm excited to get out.
I want to bring this up because before we get off this topic, I know we spent a lot on it, but
Yeah.
there was an event in Virginia like last week or a week or two ago that got busted up by the cops, and I don't know exactly what the event was. Apparently, some, you know, black market, whatever, small.
Are
I
they
would-
med or something there?
Dude, I don't even know. I
I'll
don't know the
Google
laws
it.
in Virginia. All I know is a small event. There was like
It was
41
cannabis, though?
people. Just say event, like 40 people arrested, and then like 12 guns got abandoned. And so I wanted to bring that up because everyone, like, you know, I guess there was armed security that was hired to, like, you know, run the doors, and so they were armed. But I guess there was like, I don't know if it's an addition or including
Virginia's recreational.
those. Yes, I don't know. So I don't know what was going
And
on.
home grow as of July 2021. 1 ounce, and I don't know how many plants.
I don't know. Maybe you can find the. Maybe I could just find it and screen share it. But
That's something. 1 ounce is good. I'll take it.
it's better than nothing, I guess.
Well, that's terrible. Well, that's terrible.
yeah. Let's be real. I got an ounce of seed in my
Ann
pocket
Arbor.
right
Like,
now.
what do you grow? You grow like the tiniest plant.
We have 10 ounces rec and then unlimited, basically, if you can say that you grew it all. So unlimited is our
I
fucking
found
law.
it,
That's
for
what
Rolly.
freedom sounds
Okay,
like to
grow
me.
10.
That sounds like fucking
The
freedom.
Raid Richmond
Keep it grow
marijuana
Yeah.
event.
I'm looking at Portsmouth,
Or
Oh.
just a
and oh yeah, it's on High Street. Yeah, this is the one.
backyard.
Okay.
I'll share real quick.
Sorry.
Red, you need to build a barn for your weed, man.
Dude,
Just
dude,
go
just
every winter.
like so even if you're just a consumer, right? You could just like throw a little 4x4 grow bed in your backyard and be like, I
Oh,
grew all
Lord.
this weed. You know, it's all my weed.
Absolutely.
I'm not suggesting that anybody do that.
And then you could just cut it down and just use that as mulch and fucking just
Someone could
keep
be
your good weed on the inside.
for doing that.
Ugh.
So this was on High Street, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
Apparently,
Green,
it's like a
Green Street and High.
yeah.
What on the corner of Green and High? Oh, this was planned. This was in the city planning
That's-
years and years.
That's so awesome.
Right. But I guess it's kind of a rough neighborhood from what I was reading about it. But they yeah, I mean if you look at the picture, if I can pull it back up, you know,
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. Yeah.
What are they doing with all that?
Dang.
Jesus.
yeah, it's a lot of
Thank you.
pistols, and B, a lot of like
Scrapping,
just
man.
Is that
giant
shatter?
slab
At
of
least
shatter.
these are nice
Pizza box?
vacuum sealed cereal containers.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of like repackaged California type, you know, whatever Chinese packaging, a lot of just booze.
Well, that's what
whatever.
the Rick or somebody in chat was saying with the CRA. They're not gonna be allowing no turkey bag on tables.
Yeah, the craft affair, like
Um,
there's I
yeah.
mean, we vet all the not we, but the promoter vets all the vendors and everything, and you know, he takes it very seriously, and he's not letting like he posted up on his Instagram, I think yesterday, like we don't allow backpackers.
No
Like,
backpacking.
it's
Yeah.
not allowed. Like it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. You're not welcome here. It's not that kind of show, you know.
Those are a few of the things that caused legislators and just the neighborhoods to be concerned. I don't they're getting access for their other people, but and I don't know. They don't look at it the way that we look at it, and so
Well, you're talking about it
Totally.
goes back to the love of the plant, and the feedback the plant gets versus
Yeah.
the greed and all those things. And I know people are just trying to make a living, and it is providing access. But yeah, it's like there are better ways to do it. I feel like.
yeah. And I guess if there is that type of an abundance, it is probably being grown.
But
some
Hold on though. You know what brings that about though is the illegality and the black market of it. The lack of access is really what brings that about, right? If we're
yes.
I don't like comparing alcohol to cannabis, but I do like comparing the small craft industry of alcohol to cannabis
the craft
industry.
brewery.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know too many up here because I'm not a big drinker, but I know in Florida because I was there for a while. Every city I lived in, there was like 2 or 3 craft breweries, and they never had an issue. Money wise, they always had good income. They weren't expanding franchises, like Samuel Adams or somebody, but they always made a living, and I always was like, that would be cool. Every
you know
town maybe
one-
had 3 or 4 competing little.
We've been to
spots
one,
or
dude.
something.
Grand River Brewery. We've been to one.
We went there.
Yeah, right to our town.
I don't think we went
there
there.
for lunch. We went there for lunch at work. From work, we went there, ate there lots of times.
I don't
It's
think I
probably-
did.
He's like, I
Bro,
didn't drink. I don't remember.
You definitely have been there, dude. You have
Well,
been
maybe.
there.
You know what I think?
But
I think
Yeah.
that like we like the growers and the consumers, we all had this mindset that it was going to be like this farmers market. I've seen the word in chat. This farmers marketplace, right? And I think the legislator had this idea that it was going to be this liquor store marketplace,
Right.
And now if you go to an urban area, or if you go to any just like city densely populated, you go look at liquor stores, there's a ton of people hanging out around the liquor store. And I think that that's why these no loitering laws are in, like, they're so serious about loitering around cannabis. They're like so afraid about the loitering. But when you go in the middle of nowhere in the liquor stores, there's nobody. Hey, this is an urban thing. This is a
I don't understand why we have liquor stores up
this
here.
is it, but yeah, and like so I understand.
But you can go to Meijer and get the
that
best
it's gonna have
price.
This loitering issue, but no way, man. Could you imagine like I don't know, man. Like just like
But it's also a weird industry there because they regulate literally a state minimum.
there's
Could you
just so
imagine a
much
minimum
regulation
on cannabis?
There's hold on the red with you got to think about something too though with the extreme urban situations that you're talking about where this people are hanging out
It's just
and
a dense
a lot of-
population. It's just so much
it's because there's a lack of access again.
Yeah.
We're
They're
talking about
all
lack of
probably
access.
addicted.
Well, and
No.
that's-
But hold on. Let me finish, please.
Definitely,
It's a
right.
lack of access to fucking grocery stores, guys. Like
Yeah,
that's where they have to get their groceries is because there's no other
Yeah,
grocery store within walking distance.
right.
All you
That's
have
true.
is the freaking
It's a liquor store.
that's essentially a
store.
convenience shop as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a situation that's kind of
Yeah.
created by just the nature of.
And I'm not
that
saying there's anything
environment,
wrong
you know?
with it. I'm saying that the city has this perception of that's what the cannabis shop is going to be, even though that's not.
They
because-
also associate it with like gambling and prostitution and crime. It's all the same
Yeah.
thing to them, you know. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't
Yeah.
know if they're afraid that there's going to be like that stuff going on in the parking lots or just smoking or what it is, but it seems to just have this issue with like they're mostly afraid of loitering. They're like the biggest issue is like people hanging out in front of the store, like as if it was like I don't know. Like I said, I don't have an issue with like liquor. Trust me. I mean, out of liquor stores my whole life without having issues, but I don't see that same thing in like rural areas. It's just not the same population thing. Like for Girlie is saying, it's an access thing. It's that you're getting your groceries there, and I've been the person going to get my grocery stores from the gas stations and liquor stores, or getting my groceries from the gas stations and liquor stores.
It's interesting to see how different states handle that too, though. I lived in Pennsylvania where you couldn't sell alcohol at like a Walmart or Meijer or whatever. It had to be a
That's weird.
standalone liquor store. And I remember going up there in the first year, my mom, she she'd get a bottle of wine, and I was in the store with her, and she was like, hold this. So I was holding a bottle of wine, following her, and they kind of flipped out. And they're like, you can't be holding that. and like, so it's very strict. It was weird, and when I got older, I was like, I still don't understand the point of separating this.
Dude, have you guys visited like Gatlinburg in that area in Tennessee where the dry county is? You have to go to the next town over just to be able to.
They had dry counties in Florida, but like, I mean, why are you out there? that was my they're way out there. Like, unless you got somebody in that town you're visiting, why are you going to that town?
That's like telling Red, why do you live there? It's like,
right,
well, they
right.
fucking shit on me, man.
Yeah.
It's not as easy.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're like little tiny specks on the map. The dry counties.
Gatlinburg. What's the town next to Gatlinburg? That's the dry. It's in the dry county. It's a massive tourism town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's huge. It's not like a little.
That's just weird to me. Yeah, and
you go to the Publix.
Weird laws.
You're like, wait.
If anything, we need a department of law checking. It's just like logic
itself.
There's a law you can't eat ice cream on Sundays.
That would be wild.
No spitting into the wind, right? Like,
yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff they have forgotten to strike out of the record.
Well, that would make sense on why there's so many children's attractions in Gatlinburg, right? Like it's all like Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Okay, so it's Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, and Gatlinburg are all located in Sevier County, Tennessee. Sevier County is technically a dry county, though it includes a city option for the sale of service and liquor and or beer with regard to state law. So Sevierville restaurants may serve liquor by drink and beer sales. So it's just like, oh yeah, these stores can, but these restaurants can't.
It's just like the cannabis municipality bullshit.
It's wild.
It's like y'all just picking and choosing.
It's confusing. Like if you don't live there, you don't know.
Always
I gotta go drive 20 minutes. Now I'm gonna go ride this roller coaster over here just because I want to.
Exactly.
Go here. Like,
that's why I don't like how different state laws have become. Because it's like, oh, I'm entering this state. Let me pull out my law book, make sure I'm straight. I'm wearing good shoes. Yep. All right, shirt's not green on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm allowed to wear this color today.
It's just like, oh, I gotta throw that fucking ounce out because I'm heading into this state.
Yeah, I guess we'll do a stash and dash real quick.
Or like what kind of but I don't know. Well,
no, it's just the whole tradition of breaking one law at a time. I just won't speed. I'll just be a good driver. I'll be a good boy in the car.
On the speed limit.
That's good.
The computer doesn't fuck up these days if you got a pretty new, the last 20-year car. So.
I just need Chat GPT to get me to my
location. I averaged 28 miles to the gallon on my trip. I was fucking.
That was really good, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thrilled.
I averaged 18. I envy 18, man. 18.
I can't wait till solar panels get so good that they slap them on top of the car and it just powers the car.
You're not thinking all the way through, man. What about?
Why?
They've already got this technology where they have it in glass, so all of your windows could have
That
solar
too.
panel.
Well, I
And then
mean,
you
yeah,
could
that's
have
what I
the
mean.
solar
Like
panel.
when we maximize solar so good that it's just
Yeah.
enough space on a car is enough to power the car itself.
Well, no wait, and then to go one further, you got this thing called solar roadways. That's already
Yep.
in development.
And then it's
cheap and
recharging,
It's charging you as you're on the road driving, man.
Yeah.
and they heat. So
And
in the
it
winter states like up here,
Yeah.
If
no
it's like
ice, no
40
no
degrees,
people
yeah.
crashing, less cars backed up,
And
more
they
flow
drain.
traffic. Vote for me, 2028. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get them.
We need to do it, man. We need to do it.
Yep.
I'm on board.
Oh, that was the best.
Did the solar tile guy, the road tile guy, did that take off? Did he get his thing?
Yeah,
out?
he's in like the
There's a
fourth
couple of
test
them,
with
but yeah,
DOT testing right now, the fourth one. I
Spartan's
follow
a
him on
proud
Instagram.
investor of one of
He's
them.
been
I'm
going
proud
for like 10
investor.
years, man.
Solar roadways, yeah. The
But,
Indiegogo.
yeah.
Like just had like a little ad out that was like invest in this little project.
I'll
you
try
know,
to find a video of them, Spartan, for
Kickstarter
tomorrow.
campaign.
And
Yeah.
like, because it's really neat how they have gullies underneath them and stuff to
drains.
service them and drain water.
And hold
And-
all the power cables so they're not up
Yeah,
in the
so
fucking sky
yeah,
anymore.
and you can go down there and have people service those things if they break or something.
Yeah, it's just really amazing. Good.
All that stuff adds up. And,
And you can have a conventional power source backup if you need
If,
it.
let
you
me
know.
ask you
Yeah.
guys this:
Well, you can get your
If-
driveway in it if you want to, man.
how many
Like, you just power your house.
how many watts do you use in your grow right now? you
It-
think?
it-
I
the
use
driveway wouldn't do too well for me right now because there's 3 cars and a 40-foot pile of wood chips. When the wood chips aren't taking up the space of 3 vehicles,
I use like 2,000 watts, maybe no, probably 2,500 watts right now. How much would it cost for you guys to buy solar? Is what I'm saying. Like, how cheap would it
To
have
run
to
the
get
grow or just the
to
house?
run the grow? Let's just say because it's a grow show. Let's just
I mean, I want to be able to power my entire facility, like the entire
Let's
campus.
say, yeah,
for
the whole
under
thing.
under 20 grand.
under 20. That's pretty nice. I think. Okay, because I was thinking like, and as a home grower, like a 12 planter, $1,000. Is that a fair price for a home grower to have
No,
power
but-
indefinitely for their grow?
No, because it requires a battery.
Well, I'm just
the
saying the
battery-
$1,000
batteries
includes
is-
that. It's $1,000 is.
There's
is
no
the-
way.
way.
What, you pay
There's
it
no-
all?
Battery-
you are
This
decades from that.
headset, I charge once every 6 months.
Bro,
They
that
just
headset ain't growing no
They just
plant.
increased battery tech tenfold.
That-
so-
that-
That wouldn't
Yeah,
even
well-
grow a seedling, bro.
What are the
one of the best batteries they have is either Generac or
where did they
or
get
no, the Tesla one. It's the
Powerwall
Powerwall.
batteries baked?
The what?
What kind of batteries
Powerwall.
are they using?
I don't know, but I remember reading articles a few
Yeah.
months before these came out,
Are they
and
lithium?
there's a jump
batteries?
in battery tech. I'm gonna find it for tomorrow, and I'm gonna get you guys.
That's
No, it's
really
not.
what it is.
It's,
They
It's
are-
not
they
wireless
are-
charging,
HyperX.
it's not solar technology. It's the ability to store the capacity that we've earned from the sun. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's
All
really
right.
the battery technology.
And recharge and uncharge.
Well,
like,
like all right,
then-
but
then-
like a light, for instance, can be $1,000 if you bought like a nice like Vulcan or something like that.
for sure.
So like to me, it's like, yeah, if you could get a battery and a solar panel that provides the wattage for home grow for $1,000, I think in a few people
Yeah, I
would
would
do
do
that.
And then made it easily modular, so you could just
could you
keep adding to it.
imagine? Exactly. Could you? And yeah. Now all of a sudden your TVs are off the grid, or or
Yeah,
something.
and
I
you-
don't know.
yep,
Your
and you're
fridge.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that's gonna be so cool. And then the roads are, yeah. I
And
think
not just solar panels, they make these little commercial windmills too, and then water mills.
I've been looking for the
Dude,
ones
give me a
I
river,
couldn't
bro.
find them. But they're skinny and they're really neat. But
I want
a
there's all
river.
kinds of those.
So
A river?
okay,
Oh yeah, if you got
Yeah.
a river, you got infinite power.
I want a water
Also-
wheel on a river.
also, if you
and
have a
call it
hill,
day.
If you have
Yeah.
a hill with
Oh, too.
water on top,
Yeah, waterfall.
I showed Spartan once.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it called? That generator where it uses water pressure to push air pressure back up, and it's pretty neat. But
If you have a hill, you need one pump.
this required a start, but and then it was infinite.
Like a ventrili kind of situation.
I think that's what it was called.
So I just Googled. I this is not what I use, but this is what I would want. I would want the capacity for 10,000 kilowatt hours a month. And when I
Yeah.
quickly Googled that, it's telling me how much does a 10 kW solar system cost. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for, like a 10,000 kilowatt.
No.
I
system.
clicked a battery.
You want a battery that could store that, but that's crazy to store a whole month's worth on a battery. I'd be like storing a week's worth or something.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. On a monthly basis, I want the capacity to use 10,000 kilowatt hours. So maybe on a weekly basis, it's 2,500 or whatever. So
Right, so I'd look for a battery
A
that was about
10 kilowatt
2,500.
battery is more than enough to run your household smoothly for a day if
we're not
you
talking household.
fully
We're talking
charge it
growing
once.
shit, though.
I know, but I'm getting a baseline. So it would run your whole house smoothly for a day. 110K.
So you have to charge it every
So
single
you
day.
Yeah, you would want like 3 or 4 of those. Now I gotta find out how much one of those.
So
would be, you
well,
know?
10 kW, it's $2.77 per watt. So about $27,700 for a 10,000.
This one's
kilowatt system.
11 kilowatt solar carbon AGM battery, 6,500.
That's just the battery, though, right? So what
Yeah.
about
So I'm
the
telling
whole
you,
system, the
not all, but
installation?
the vast majority of the cost isn't battery.
But I
just
bet
storing
5
it.
to 10
Yeah.
years ago that was
Dude, my
double.
buddy had a Prius. I know all the costs is in the battery.
Yeah, oh for sure. You don't want those things failing.
Oh my god.
I got a hybrid and they gave me it's a 10-year warranty on the battery. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get
10
rid of
years
this
and
thing.
one day.
I'm gonna
that
get
thing
rid
is
of
gonna
it
die.
before.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get rid of it
promise
before
you,
then.
dude. His was literally
yeah.
3 months
Computer,
after the
man.
warranty went up. It was like, of course, this is like it's like a freaking iPhone. It's like a time for this, dude.
That's why it's a
Mhm.
hybrid. It still has gas. It still
Samsungs
has-
do that too for
Not
Girly.
if you don't have a
Oh.
battery, though. I think
But
you still
yeah.
need a battery to be able to
Yes,
operate
dude,
the
it has
car.
a
Yeah,
cell
at least it's not
truck.
battery only, man.
10 years and one day.
I like that attitude, Blue Kiss. I like that attitude. I gotta get some dabs, but
I see what you're saying.
I'm a
Spartan.
pack
You're
a
never-
ball.
I thought you
Yeah,
were going glass half
dude,
empty.
yeah.
You're going glass half full, I think, or maybe vice versa. I don't know.
I
always screw it
was
up.
full, man. I was like, man, it's good to have both because then when one fails, you still got a backup kind of. You can still move down the road.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can start your car without a battery.
If you're already going though,
Yeah,
What if-
you're already
what if
going,
you
you
had
keep going.
What if you had a tube on top of your car that intake the wind to turn a turbine? So while you're driving, you're producing.
Yeah,
Actually,
that'd be dope.
Zero. Well, you'd have to produce power to get going, so I think it's like
Just
Yeah,
capture
you,
that.
you
zero
get a
energy
minimal loss
production.
there, but like that's where the solar
Well,
panels on
that's
the
where the
windows and
efficiency
stuff
comes
come
in.
in
I think
play.
if that was the case, we'd have just giant
Your
like
engine
the
does
whole
that.
Earth would be a wind turbine, and
Capture some of that wind
Your
that's
engine
coming in
does
through your
that.
Well,
radiator.
Charges
Have you
the
seen the giant wave, the wave generators?
those are cool.
Those are
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, let's harness the power of the moon. We're getting close. We're getting close.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna reel
So-
that bitch in.
So on a large scale, there are already solutions for solar operations that would store large amounts of energy. You just got to think creatively, like moving water. So if you picture a hill, and you got, say, your facility at the bottom of the hill, and you have a lake at the bottom of the hill, you use your solar power to just run a pump all day long, and it pumps water up to the top basin, and you have a between the two ponds, you have a pipe of water that you can drain at night with a water turbine in there. So when you need the power, you just drain the water that you've pumped when you had the excess power during the day. So you're using the solar power to run a pump that brings the water up up the grade of the hill, and it's stored in the pond at the top of the hill. And then when you need power, like say your power goes out or whatever, you release the water. Gravity brings the water through that pipe, turns a water turbine, generates your power, and now you get power.
So
Try-
two things real quick is the pump has to be efficient enough to be basically providing you with more power by pushing that water up there than it is by consuming to run the pump to push it up there, right? Because otherwise
It'd
you're
be
at
the
a net
same.
zero.
Yeah.
And
Because
the
you're
other
pushing a
thing
turbine, you're gaining all that energy back when you push the turbine on the way down. So
Right.
whatever it costs you to push the turbine the way up, you can use that same turbine in
but if
reverse.
it's a net zero, then you can't power anything at the bottom of the hill. You're just
Have
being
you
able
Why
to power
can't
the
you?
pump. At
No,
the
you're
turbine
storing.
level.
No, you're thinking of it wrong. You're storing power. The water is your battery. You don't have to have a toxic battery. You just have water as your battery.
We need a diagram for
But where are we
tomorrow.
putting this energy once we, release it into the
What
from
is
the
this
turbine?
called?
We're gonna have
You
to
could use a capacitor.
Yeah, but you have to have a smaller battery to catch it to even out the power for sure.
A
But
capacitor is
so-
where you store the energy. And then
yeah, or a capacitor.
Right. And I'm not talking about storing it. I'm just saying, like, you have to use a certain amount of energy to power the pump, and then you're gonna gain a certain amount of energy from.
Yeah, but the energy. Yeah,
from
but
the
your energy
turbine.
that you're using, the energy that you're using to power the pump is energy that you're pulling from the sun for free. So even if it's a little bit, even if you lose a little bit of that, it's
Oh, you're
all
using
free
solar
energy.
point,
You
because
just
you
power
got solar. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as you got the initial
That's what he
message.
said.
I missed that point.
Yeah.
So my second point is, can't we just create a siphon that would do all that work for us? A gravity siphon. So we
A
don't
bell
use
You might
siphon.
be able to. I
Yeah.
think that's
we
what
don't
I
use
was
the
talking
pump
about.
at all.
I'm gonna try to find a diagram for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it's a bell. Look up bell
'Cause we
siphon,
got-
Big. That's what
Okay.
you're looking for, a bell siphon.
I don't know if
Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, the late sesh.
Siphon that goes
More
up.
engineering
us.
talk.
We have a lot to talk about, and I didn't write any of it down.
Oh,
So basically,
no.
use the
So,
suction red to start. It.
It's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
But
That goes up and down.
We'll all be up there, dude.
It burps.
I want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
thank chat.
Part.
You're always great. Our sponsors, Diggs Medibles, and the Patreons, of course. But this has been a fun show.
Fun show, guys.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody that came out to the craft fair today. You guys have been huge supporters. Thank you for only sending me home with 2 jars.
You guys
I
got the
appreciate it.
Fledge next week.
I won't be there. I'll be at Hash Bass.
Red?
Where? Who?
Next week, Fledge.
Fledge next week. One more time.
right.
And then 2
Nice.
weeks off. Everybody's prepping and doing hash bash. So
I'll be
See
back there
Red
March
Setter
16th.
Farms, Becca.
we'll be back in July, in April.
I was gonna say, dang, taking a break, huh?
Yeah.
Not harvesting for a minute, huh?
We'll be back. Yeah.
No, I saw you had some
Keep
Rainbow
growing,
Driver
everybody.
coming.
Hell yeah.
All right,
growing.
guys. Have a good one.
Yeah.